Just remember, the things you listen to in this podcast, the things that we edit out were more offensive. Hello, I'm Nicholas Jackson.
I'm Luke Roberts.
And I'm Adam Thorne.
And welcome to episode 10 of the Rand Nerds podcast. We've hit double figures.
We've all made it to 10.
And we've still not faded.
Not yet.
No, we're getting there. I want to make it to 12 and then we'll fade.
Is that a bet?
That's the plan, yeah.
Because you know what happens when you make bets.
I lose usually.
Yeah.
So we're safe.
Oh my god.
Straight into it then. This was going to be called Games We've Been Playing, but as my two compatriots have had lives to deal with and, things to do and work and actual things, and I'm the only lazy person amongst them, it's actually games I've been playing.
And by games, you mean game.
All right, game I've been playing.
Is it actually a full game or is it an add-on?
Well, it's a full game, but it's like a spin-off of the original.
Right.
It's called Deus Ex 4. It actually was originally a mobile game, believe it or not. But I tell you, it doesn't play like a mobile game. So it's set in the Deus Ex universe, Human Revolution universe. I believe, looking through the game files, I think it's actually been made in Unity. Because there's lots of references to Unity in the game files, so I think it might be made in Unity. But I tell you what, if it is, they've done a bloody good job making it look like the original Deus Ex. So storyline is you play a chap called Sam. I can't remember I can't remember his. No, not Sam. Ben.
So we could just call him Sam Fisher for the sake of this.
No, it's Ben. Terribly voice acted. It's got the worst opening cutscene I've ever seen. It's so convoluted. These people have obviously been. This basically they just sit on the sofa talking to each other, and the woman says, "Tell me about your entire life history. We've known you for months, but just tell me about your entire life history and why you got here." And he ends up sort of looking into the distance, and then that's the prologue.
Great.
He starts to tell his life history about it. Yeah,
I can tell they've had an amazing budget for this one.
yeah. But other than that, it plays exactly like Deus Ex game. It's still got the stealth bits. You've still got your augments. Just a few annoying things. So after the prologue bit, a bit like Deus Ex Human Revolution, you have like the first bit where you've got your gun and off you go and you're away.
You start the game.
Yeah. After that, but usually you have a bit of build up to it. But after that, you then get yourself you actually get yourself reset to zero, as it were. So all your augments you got while you're doing that prologue gets reset to zero. You have to start from fresh.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night syndrome there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of being sort of set up and then just reset to zero. I actually end up swapping. Although I have to say, it's got one of the best achievements I've ever seen in a computer game.
Start the game.
No. I actually yelped with joy, and it actually said it's the best game I've ever played once the achievement appeared. There's a character in the original Deus Ex called Barrett, and he's a bit of a git, and he basically beats you up. And he's this big, tall guy, humongous guy. He's about 8 foot tall, and he's got this machine gun in his arm that he spins out and sort of shoots at you, and you end up beating him by throwing gas cans at him, and he ends up deciding killing himself to not give you. Still gives you the information, but then kills himself. But there's a bit where you go up to him, and I went up to him, and basically I get to say something to him. I won't spoil too much. I basically sort of criticise him, and he has to go back at me. Then it says, "Achievement unlocked, piss off Barrett." I was like, yes, that's an achievement I want, pissing somebody off.
There you go. Game done.
That was fantastic. I laughed and I yelped when that happened.
Is this like a prologue game then, set before the...
Right, it's set concurrently because the way I mention it, I've figured out... Right, it's a bit of both in that Deus Ex Human Revolution you start off in 2 bits. You start off at South Industries. You then get attacked. That's when you get sort of knocked out, injured badly, and have to be augmented. Then main game kicks off 6 months later. This game, the prologue starts just after the attack on South Industries. So it's sort of in between the two.
Right.
So it's sort of the game is sort of set between the prologue and the main game of the first game, if that makes sense. So at least that's what it seems so far. So obviously they've had to explain why he's not in it. I believe it's based on a book. I believe there's a time book released. I might be wrong on that. There's a time book released for Deus Ex Human Revolution. I believe this is a game based on the book. So I know that featured and because you actually play as an ex-SAS member in this one, so you play someone British, just the voice acting is atrocious. But other than that, it's a fun little game. It is basically a Deus Ex game. If you enjoy Deus Ex, you'll probably enjoy it. Bad things, you can't reconfigure the controls. They are absolutely fixed. You can't do anything about them. All the best you can do is get a little picture up on the screen of here's your keyboard controls and that's it.
Can you change whether your HUD and that is inverted? So when you move, like...
You can invert the mouse and that's about it.
Oh, that's okay.
If you're one of those weird people who invert the mouse.
Yeah, we'll say there's always sort of people that do, so...
Yeah, if you are sort of crazy and invert the mouse, then yes, you can do that. But I ended up having to play it, because all the controls are different to how I'm used to, I had to basically take a print screen of it. I've got 2 monitors. On the second monitor, I put the print screen up so I could look at it, so I could keep looking across and see what the controls were.
What would have been really funny is if you'd have printed that out, cut out the keys and made an overlay.
I could have done that, yeah. Well, the trouble is, I'm so used to games having the use key on the F button, but the F button is throw grenade. So I kept walking up the doors and just chucking grenades at them.
That works for some people.
It was. Actually, when the guards didn't manage to kill himself for literally about 5 minutes of me playing, when the guards threw a grenade, I took cover and I had the bang, and then nothing happened. I walked around the corner, he managed to throw it at a desk, it bounced on the desk, and he killed himself.
Good to know.
It is. But it's great. I'm quite enjoying it. It's your favourite developer. It's Square Enix involved again.
Yuck.
Yeah, but other than that, it's a nice little game. If you like the original Deus Ex, I would say I'm actually doing a Let's Play.
I wish that they'd throw a grenade at a table and it'd bounce off and hit them in the face. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Like, so I'm doing a Let's Play at the moment of it, which I'm putting up on the site. So it does contain spoilers, obviously, including for the main game as well. But yeah, if you like the original Deus Ex, well worth a play.
How much is it?
$7.99. I tell you what, I've only just got past the prologue. I've been playing about 2.5 hours. For $7.99, I've only just started the main game. That's not
fairly
bad.
good value for money. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long the main game will last, mind you, but I think it's good value. When you consider, as I said, Burial at Sea.
I'm actually curious, just randomly, because you said that it was a mobile game to start with, so whether or not they'll make a version of it for... Because if it was on Android, then maybe they'll put it on the Ouya and the Game Stick.
I'm not sure, because it's still, graphically wise, it's very similar to the original Deus Ex. It's quite high quality graphics, so I'm not sure whether they would actually be able to handle that quality. I'm not sure how powerful
I'm pretty sure the Ouya could.
There you are, Ouya users.
You
can't handle quality. Oh dear, you heard it here.
All 10 of you out there, including one sitting across the table from me.
Bastards.
Yeah. I might be completely wrong about saying it's a mobile game. I'm sure I read it was a mobile game. I might be completely wrong about that, but that's all right.
Won't be the first time, I mean.
Yeah, but we like being wrong. It gives something to talk about on Flashback.
We actually get more content.
We spent most of Flashback saying, yep, I was wrong. No, I was wrong about that. I said that. Yeah, I was wrong.
Do you remember that? Yeah, that doesn't even exist.
It's a good job we're rubbish at proofreading, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you should do research before we do all this sort of thing.
I like how prepared you guys are, because I just come here with like nothing written down at all. I barely remember what I've got written on there. Hence why Nick generally has to remind me.
Yeah, generally.
So
this time we've upgraded, because this time I've actually printed out 3 copies of the show notes.
Right.
So this is how hardcore and high tech we are now. Yeah. Not only do we all have a microphone these days, we have our own show notes.
Copy, yeah. 3 copies each.
Really funny if we actually had our own different
3 copies, 1 each.
And the blue font hints that it came out of a colour printer, so we're aiming
it's
high here, guys.
Yeah. An Epson printer, don't you know?
Holy crap! The budget for this episode must be going through the roof right now.
No, well, it's not my ink; it's my parents' ink. So that's the main thing. But have you not noticed weird news? Look at that, coloured paper.
Wow.
Yeah, the weird news on a pastel yellow coloured paper.
Are we going to have to go and get a loan out to keep the show going?
Yes.
Crap.
We need to monetize all the videos.
Yeah, never going to happen. No one will watch this crap.
No, of course not. They listen to it.
No one will listen to it either.
Yes, they do. We've got 13 subscribers.
Oh my god.
6 of them are me, but
Oh dear.
I think we worked out once we've got like 3 unique subscribers who are people we don't actually know. Hello, all 3 of you. Please email us at randnerds@gmail.com so we know who you are. Please.
Getting sick and tired of all the spam.
Yeah, as all getting Sam. I'm beginning to start applying. So I think we'll have to start adding to the list the Nigerian princes who keep emailing us. Just add to the list.
I hate to break it to you, but that's the reason I've not been playing games this month. I've been at home.
You took up by Nigerian prince.
No, I've been making a noose. But yeah, probably because I'm being harassed by Nigerian princes.
Wow. There you go.
Have you guys ever seen that video of the the so-called Nigerian princes with the Nigerian scammers doing the dead parrot sketch?
No.
That's worth looking into if you've not seen it. Basically,
Link in the show.
she'll
notes.
have to stick a link there.
Yes.
Some guy just, like, when they were sending him emails, he just sent reverse emails saying he'd pay them, but they have to do this. So he got them to redo the entire Monty Python's Dead Parrot sketch and make a video of it. It's quite extraordinary.
I remember seeing the one where this guy, he got a dodgy email with someone who's trying to basically do a dodging game to buy like his MacBook. He's actually a chap in America, and he was being sent to someone in London. And he basically got this dodgy bid on eBay, and this guy was sort of saying, "Oh, if you do this, I'll get it all sent out. And, I'll send it to you via wiretap or whatever it is, sort of a dodgy way of paying for goods," and trying to convince him to sell it. So he basically played along to the point where he sent the guy a made-up MacBook, which he made out of 2 bits of wood with a hinge on it, and he'd drawn all the keys on it, and he'd drawn it all on, and he said, I'm not happy, and the guy had insisted he sent it not to his address, but to a cybercaf. But he'd already got like a group of forum friends who were in on this, and he got about 3 and went down to the cybercaf with cameras to film it, hit secretly, and he saw this guy coming in so disappointed he got his fake MacBook. That was hilarious.
Good times.
Excellent.
Well, that was a short section. So, straight on to the film review then. Well, this literally a couple of weeks ago, Valve released a film called Free to Play, which isn't about free to play games, it's about DOTA. Now, I'm not actually a fan of DOTA, but it's about the first DOTA International, but it's more about the people involved. Now, I've watched it all the way through. Fauna hasn't watched it at all. Luke, I think, watched 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, about that.
But it was really interesting. It was a fascinating watch. I was hooked for the whole hour and 15 minutes it was on.
I went to watch it and then I just saw Dota 2 and nope the fuck out of there. It's like, nope.
Seriously, you should watch it. Even though it's supposed about Dota 2, it's really about the gamers. There's a bit about they talk about Dota 2, obviously to give people an idea who don't know what Dota 2 is, because I don't know much about Dota. I've never played it, don't know a lot about it, and it gave me a bit of the background of what it all meant and
Defense
what
of
the
the
term
Agents.
No, you can't call it Defense of the Agents.
No, because that's the mod for Warcraft 3.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
So then
Dota.
technically they can't call it
I
Dota
got
2.
it. Like, I remember
No,
when
Dota's just a random name. It's not an acronym, it's just a name, Dota.
it sort of first came on the scene and people were giving out like free passes and stuff for it, and I got given one by someone I know, and just playing it and hating every minute of it.
Wasn't it, or whatever.
And then Steam just kept giving me free passes for it to give to other people, but I'm not that cruel, so I just hoarded them until they got rid of them.
Well, it seems popular enough. But it follows 3 gamers. There's one guy from Japan, one guy from Ukraine, although he might not be part of Ukraine in the way Russia's going at the moment. And the third guy's an American. And it follows their sort of how they sort of go together to the big event, the first Dota International, and how they compete and get on. And you
so in short, bollocks to their teams.
Well, they're sort of the team captains, as it were. So they sort of lead the teams. So that's where they get followed. And you do see their teams.
Are they as vapid as the old fighting game industry, where they would just get really, really angry with each other? And there's some great videos of fighting games where people just get really raged and start shouting at each other.
One of the guys does have a bit of a... I wasn't ever quite sure from the very start. It must be it's the Japanese guy. I didn't quite... I don't know, somehow I didn't quite like.
Is that the kid that was practically always sat in the corner as his family is ripping into him constantly?
Yes, he plays his games and not getting his straight A's, yeah.
Your studies suck a dick. You play too much games.
It's nice to see that they're sticking to the stereotype of that.
Well, the American chap got thrown out of his house because he was gaming. His parents actually threw him out.
So this is basically like the video game version of the X Factor, where everybody gives their sob story beforehand, and we're all feeling sorry for him.
It is a bit about a case of... Well, no, the Ukrainian guy doesn't get kicked out, but it's a bit of how Dota, being a professional gamer, ruined my life a little bit as you watch it, and how basically it's quite odd in a way, because these guys, when they go to these tournaments, if they don't win, they come away with near enough nothing.
They do go away with nothing. That's just the way professional gaming has always been since it started way, way, way back when.
Yeah. But you then, at some point, you meet this other team called eHome, which is the Chinese teams, like I said, the best team in the world. And their manager, he's so full of himself. I hated him from the moment I first saw him. He's so full of himself. Goes on and on about how when eHome walk in, everybody sort of... he virtually said that they all worship them as they walk through the door. So you're so full. I'm glad they end up losing. He's so full of himself. Oh,
Did they get thrashed, or was it like a close?
it was close, but they got to the final. I won't ruin it for anybody who's not watched it by saying which of the 3 people, how far they got into the competition. But one, I will say one did make it to the final, but I won't say who made it to the final. But it was a really interesting documentary. I don't know much about Dota, but I think that I could see that being what I liked about it is most of these documentaries you've seen about computer games tend to always be about that this is a computer game. Now, computer games, people play them. People use a mouse and keyboard to play a computer game. Sometimes they enjoy it. And it just sort of, this game is called Sonic the Hedgehog.
I've watched a couple of good ones. There's a really good one about the fall of Neo Geo, sort of giving you the background on how Neo Geo got to where it was, how SNK then fell apart and was then bought by the Koreans and turned into something else. There's another really good one that I believe you might have seen, Luke, about arcades.
Yeah, that was 100 yen or
That's the
whatever it
one,
is.
100. That's
That was
really
really
good.
good.
Very good documentary, worth watching.
Look, that was basically why
They
arcades survive in Japan.
They go
but
into
they
sort of
suck
a
over
similar
here.
thing to this Dota one in that, because they talk to the champion of Street Fighter 4, don't they? The
Yeah,
guy
they talk
that's-
about the champion of Street Fighter 4 and the kind of like the leaders of DDR.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty
Random.
interesting.
When you said there's a DDR, you're referring to the type of RAM.
Sorry, that just put into my head Battering Ram Simulator.
That would be
Siege
cool.
the castle.
That'd be good as an arcade machine because you could just have like, I don't know, just a
You all work together,
a target on the wall, and you had to just headbutt it constantly.
and if you fail, you get boiling oil poured on you.
Yeah,
That would be so rad.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. All these gamers like this is
That's hardcore gaming.
This is John. He's got the highest score, and he's just like a little vegetable in the corner because he's got so much brain damage from headbutting this so often.
It's like slightly crispy as well. It's like, damn. So why recommend the documentary then? I mean, what was it really that clicked?
It was the way it was filmed, the way they managed to make something I have no interest in.
Was the fact that we were talking about free-to-play stuff the other week something that might have inspired you to
it
watch
was a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a kiss of saw on there. For I'll give it a watch, and I tell you what, it's got so much. I'm actually going to watch the next Dota International. I'm actually that interested in it now. I'm going to watch the next Dota International.
I wonder if you'll ever actually play Dota.
Oh, God.
if I'm ever going to be good enough to play Dota.
You'll never play Dota because you have to play with other people.
That as well, but I just wouldn't.
I
be,
hated Dota. I just could not
the
get
trouble
into
with
it.
Dota from people who I've seen players. If you don't play well, you actively hurt the team. Such as a team-based game, if you don't play well.
Also,
you
I've
actually
heard
get
from
this.
people that play it religiously that if you log in and your team is made up of Russians, you are screwed. You aren't going to win because all they do is shout at each other. Not that I'm saying that that's necessarily what they do.
Yeah,
that just seems to be the word on the street. That Russians who play Dota shout at each other quite a lot.
That's all right. Well, I've seen lots of players who shout at each other in their tournament games.
Good stuff.
But no, it's a documentary I could see being put onto normal channels. Being picked up by BBC or something, poor normal TV, but I bet people could watch it and they didn't treat people like idiots. It just said, look, this is serious, but like any other sports documentary. You don't see a football documentary, they say, this is a football. Here is a goal. You don't see any of that. They assume you know the basics, and this is the same thing, so it teaches you a bit more like an adult game. It teaches gaming like an adult thing. It didn't teach it like a kid's thing that adults play, which is why I liked it, because you could tell it was made by gamers rather than by somebody who's just trying to fulfill a duty.
Fair enough. Basically, it was made by Valve to push Dota.
Oh,
really.
no, definitely. Oh, yes,
I
definitely
just
it was.
have to admit, what put me off watching it was that Indie Gamers documentary, the one that made me physically sick.
Was that the one with
it was
Phil
basically,
Fish?
yeah, it was just the
That
trials
sucked
and
so
tribulations of Phil Fish. Oh, God.
hard. It was so hard to be Phil Fish. Fuck you, Phil Fish.
I mean, I feel sorry for the guy. He's born with a pubic beard. That's not good, You can't grow a proper beard, Phil. We feel for you on that respect. But when it comes to the whole, he's getting upset about his game, he's basically blaming everybody else for his failings. And, yeah,
Good for him.
I don't really know why everybody supports him and why that documentary supported him, really. But there you go. All it really showed me is that most indie developers are pretentious. At least the ones that get into the spotlight.
Yeah. Perhaps you have to be a little bit to push yourself to get to
Maybe,
that stage, I think.
but I don't know so much because you get the guy behind Hotline Miami and he's relatively on the down low, and that's a really good game. So
I just wonder perhaps the people the ones they're going to film, the ones who shout the most, which tend to be the most pretentious people.
yeah,
And the ones who probably aren't so pretentious, the ones who wouldn't necessarily want to go on documentary.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I would seriously though, when you get, I know you're not saying you don't do it. I would seriously give this a watch
Yeah.
because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by it.
The thing for me and the whole free-to-play documentary is, one, free-to-play. It might as well have just been called Dota International,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
documentary.
Well, yeah.
Right, and that, in my opinion, there was something pretty much bang on like it that told you, you're like, oh, it's all about the gamers, how the gamers feel, and that these following these professionals. MTV already did something like that called MTV True Life. I'm a Gamer.
Yeah, but why shouldn't someone else make a documentary about it?
Because Valve's attempt was crap, and it was about Dota.
I liked it, and I feel like I would highly recommend it.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I'll let that slide.
Good. I knew you'd hate it. I knew, because I knew anything that's slightly popular, I knew you hate.
It wasn't even the fact it was popular. It's just, it was fucking Dota. I mean, if they'd have said to me, okay, right now we're going to spice it up with a few other things, but they didn't. It was,
to be fair, it was advertised as a documentary about the Dota International.
Yeah, exactly, but that's not how you sold it to us. So unless we actually went looking for it to see what it was, then we wouldn't know. We just looked at, free to play, click, oh shit, it's about Dota, off.
That was my exact reaction.
Yeah, see, there you go. I mean,
Oh dear.
that is just how it fucking was. I mean, let's put it this way. I was watching a lot of YouTubers who were talking about the Dota International when it came out, and they were fucking featured in that documentary. I was like, fuck this crap. I was like it back then, and I was when the documentary came out. It's like, holy crap, did we need like an hour and a half documentary about this?
I will never understand the craze of Dota. Just, it won't ever click with me. I don't really get it.
I mean, they might as well have just said, fucking, all right, then what we're going to do next is Farmville, the documentary.
I can kind of get, like, with fighting games, having been a player of fighting games, there is an element of skill and timing and that involved, but with Dota, it doesn't seem like there's any of that there. It's more about just knowing how to follow the route of the game, and then that's it. And it's kind of like grinding the game to me.
I would imagine it comes to, depending on your skill level, I'm like logically guessing here. I'd imagine that possibly at lower levels it probably is a bit like that, but once you get to the higher levels, when there comes a point when everybody can do that, and then then the skill really starts to come through. But you see the guys using their keyboards and their mice and the speed they're doing it, they clearly are thinking and clearly having to work very hard to do it, and there is obviously some
It's
skill
sort of more
behind
like
it.
an exercise in patience to me, though, rather than with a fighting game, your reactions are specifically timed, whereas in Dota, it didn't seem to work like that, at least from my experience of playing it and watching other people play it. It just...
Yeah, like Dota.
It's just a big
there
sort
is
of tower defense game, isn't
It
it?
is a bit about timing and a bit about knowing when to do your moves and when to do your special, how you plan it and do it.
I think the best way I could compare it is comparing it to, say, like MMO combat, like World of Warcraft style combat, but on a strategic scale, which to me doesn't work. It just feels like menu clicking with nothing really happening. It kind of felt empty to me, but that's just my perspective from playing it.
Pretty much. I'm actually curious how much the documentary would have changed if they'd have called it League of Legends. So seriously, that would have been exactly
There
the
seems to be a big
same.
war between the two fan bases, doesn't there? The
Yeah,
Dota
pretty
fan
much. 'Cause
bases.
it's pretty much bang on the same thing.
Yeah, the same game. So you're
Oh shit!
arguing
Now I'm
over
going
the
to
same
get
game.
murdered.
Yeah, it is. They are. They're two. Their trouble is they're similar, but not similar enough to be that you create a war between them. I hate when fan bases argue. It's just, why can't there just be two games that everybody enjoys?
In fairness, though, look, like talking, us lot saying that, it's like, fuck you, console gamers. It's like, fuck you, PC gamers. It's like, can't we all just get along?
I don't get console wars. I never will. But then with certain games and stuff, I've argued with people over my game's better than your game. So yeah, I've been there.
When it comes to console gamers, I never used to worry about console gamers, but I got so fed up with console gamers. It's saying I'm a PC gamer, and all I got was the PC stuff. I thought, do you know what? If you can't, I had nothing against you.
Next is going to go, if you can't afford a gaming PC, I was just waiting for that. It's like, oh shit.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Because games aren't that expensive. If you do it right, you don't have to pay a huge amount. You can spend less on a game PC than you can on a console easily. I just think to myself, if you can't just sort of accept that some people don't want to play on Xbox 360.
I play both, best of both worlds.
They want to play. Yeah, it's like people have these wars between the PS3 and the Xbox. I mean, for God's sake. You've got two different consoles. Some of you like one, some of you like the other. Live with it. Why do you need to argue over it?
My version of this game is better than your one. Oh,
They look
Fuck
near
off.
enough identical.
The only
PC's
thing that
better.
ever really gets me with the consoles is the exclusives. That's all the only real difference.
Yep.
So I would, my choice of console, if I would buy one, would be based on the console's exclusives, not anything else really.
I think I actually mentioned that in the podcast once that I tallied up all the different exclusives on all the different systems, and the Xbox tanked so bad.
It
was
does, yeah. I
horrible.
mean, the Xbox is pretty much a platform for multi-plat games, really, isn't it? Mostly, it does have its own exclusive games.
I mean, I think it had like
But
4
not
exclusives that
many in
were worth my
comparison.
time. It was like 4 titles for all that money, and then just no. And then PlayStation 3 was
It is,
next.
to me, the Xbox does seem like the watered-down PC, doesn't it? Compared to the other consoles, it is like
yeah, it
the
is.
console that wants to be the most like well, being a Microsoft console, the console that wants to be most like the PC.
Yeah, but be fair, at the same time when Xbox come out, Microsoft pretty much turned its back onto the PC. You know, not long after Xbox come out, you end up with
Yeah,
Vista.
I guess
You end
Valve
up-
would be
yeah.
the saviours of PC gaming at the moment, wouldn't
Microsoft have pretty much turned their back onto the PC now.
Games for Windows Live.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or as it's now, Games Windows dead.
Yep. Thank fuck for that.
Or will be soon. Don't murder it.
they? Unless it becomes Games for Windows Undead.
That would be horrible.
How would you kill it if it's digital? You can't shoot it in the head.
Shit, we're just gonna have to disconnect the internet.
Yeah. We'll
Like
shut-
somehow we're gonna
we're
have
going
to
to
shut
have to
down
shut
the
down
internet.
the internet down.
And then, isn't that what like, the American government have been trying for years?
I think I just honestly, in my mind, I like to think that somewhere out there, there's like a little server room. It's got like
kill
a little,
switch.
That's got a little Commodore 64 running, and that controls the internet.
That is the entire
There's
internet.
one little.
It won't be a
there's
Commodore.
little RJ5 cable connecting to the outside world. And that is it. That is the internet there. And if you unplugged it, it goes, "Oh shit! I've shut down the internet."
If it's going to be anything, it'll be an Amstrad CPC.
Yeah,
That's
It will
where Alan Sugar's raking it all in.
Yeah, it is. He controls the internet. Actually, I remember do you remember when Google accidentally shut down the internet? Google has in its website, Google search has the ability to, like, if it wants to, block websites and so forth. Websites are like highly illegal, they can block it. Well, one of their programmers, they meant to like put a semicolon to end like the blocking. One person forgot to do it, and so Google just blocked every website. And so, and of
Nice.
course, like, what was it? Like 80% of traffic goes through Google first. They basically shut the internet down.
Rock on, Google.
That was brilliant.
GG.
That was good. I love Google for doing that.
Google versus the internet, the documentary.
Yeah. What would they call that? I don't know.
That's it. And just fucking call it semicolon. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be good.
The missing semicolon.
Google.
The case of the missing semicolon.
Google. We're turning us more and more like Michael Orr's 1984. It is basically going that way, isn't it? To be fair, you've got street foods, you've got the monitoring in place.
It's all good.
They know where you live. They monitor your emails. It's going there. Well, Google will take over the world. They've already got that strange structure up in San Francisco.
Fucking San Francisco.
We're going to get black bagged, aren't we, at some point?
We are. Yeah. When we disappear off the internet because Google's blocked us.
Which will probably be by the end of this podcast. I wouldn't
Otherwise
even put it
it's-
up. We'd have already been blocked.
Yeah, they're watching us. They've got this. They're
Ironic,
logging in
considering
now.
we'll probably be the only channel open in North Korea, so they love us.
Oh,
I think we established.
Everybody loves North Korea. We all love North Korea, don't we? Dear leader. We all love him.
Okay, fuck this.
North Korea, you just keep on going with your craziness. Just don't
Gift that keeps on
just
giving.
don't become actually a threat. Just keep being crazy. We like you crazy. The world sort of looks at you as a bit, but then a bit of a case of, it's quite sweet, really.
Keep America on their
you,
toes.
when you see North Korean sort of army doing its all military maneuvers, you go, bless. It's like, you see like little kids sort of like dressed up in little, you see like a little kid sort of dressed up in like army gear, and he's like wearing pretending to be like a soldier. You go, bless. That's basically how I see North Korea.
Wow, we are so being shut down.
We'll get nuked by their new missiles.
I was going to say, there's going to be a strike right down on
if
us.
you've got
Kim, you're my bro. You know we're only messing.
when you've got a nuclear missile, that the missile's called the Dong, you know, really, yeah. You know it's going to go well. Oh, North Korea, we will come visit you one time. Can we do a podcast on North Korea?
That would be so awesome. It must be done.
It must be done. Perhaps we get Kim Jong Un to come on the podcast.
I'm gonna put that in.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's happening.
We need Dennis
Three
Rodman on there
Westerners
as well.
get eaten
But
by Yorkshire Terriers from North Korea too.
I'm putting that on the schedule. Podcast 100, North Korea. We're going. Make it happen, people.
Yeah. If North Korea still exists by then.
Soon to be on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Patreon.
The other one I want to talk about was Jonathan Creek. Series 5 has just ended.
Is that a good thing?
I
But it's ended or
I
it
remember
exists.
watching
Yeah.
the first few
Yeah.
series of it ages ago, it being quite good. They got rid of the eye candy, didn't they? Though the sexy Carolyn Quentin.
See, I like the but I like the character of Callum Quinton. I liked her character. They never quite replaced her with anybody. None of the people they sort of trotted out as replacements were never quite right. Jonathan Creek, if you don't know, it's a series about. It's sort of like locked room mysteries. You know, something happens, like, you know, a painting disappears from a locked room.
Wasn't there one where like they were killing people with a toilet?
No.
I remember something like that.
There was this mystery story about a room that men would like go into, and then they would open the blinds at night and just suddenly die of fright. And that was because the hotel had fitted little electrodes underneath the floorboards where the window was, and they could actually raise them up on pins. So as the people go, they're getting electrocuted.
That wasn't the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of the one where the bodies were going into like the tank, the water tank.
Yes, that was one of the specials. That was a this room that people kept disappearing from.
They love rooms
Wasn't
where
it like
people
a
disappear.
bathtub or
there.
something?
Yeah.
It was a bathtub.
That was it. It was a
yeah.
bathtub.
about-
See, I
I
just
heard
was thinking
about
of
that.
them
Yeah,
sitting
it was
on
a
the toilet
bath.
and
Yeah,
getting flushed out, which would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
And it would have
Yeah.
been more Alan Davies like, you know, if you ever watched QI,
Yeah.
then that would be perfect. He'd love
Yeah.
that.
The
No,
dump
it's-
of death.
The Dump of Death, yeah. No, it's a series 5, just finished. It was 3 episodes long. The first one was very different, because normally with a Jonathan Creek episode, mystery happens. They discover mysterious signs. They discover a room where someone's disappeared or someone's been murdered. They're not sure how they
Quite
managed to do
eccentric
it.
English stuff then happens
Yeah,
in
it is,
between.
yeah. That happens, and it's how they figure out what happened. First episode is a bit like Columbo. They show somebody getting basically stabbed and injured, and then it shows you how that sort of develops onto the point where she ends up dying and how she ends up causing the mystery. So it's sort of done in reverse. You see how it's been caused at the start. And it just wasn't interesting because the main character, Jonathan Creek, didn't really get involved. He sort of stood there.
Just kind of wandered past, had a cup of tea.
Pretty much, he sort of went, yeah, I know what's going on. I figured it out, but I'm not going to tell anybody.
Yeah, bugger it,
It's-
I'm going off to the
yeah,
Gotta
it
hang out
was-
with Stephen Fry for a
It
bit.
was quite like that, and it just sort of like, it just didn't all go anywhere. The second episode was a lot better. It was getting a bit more sort of back to sort of your British eccentricity that's in most of the good Jonathan Creeks. It's about someone who managed to predict the future, as it were, with lottery numbers, and the mystery of it was that in fact, in a way, he did. It wasn't like he didn't. He just was sheer random luck that he happened to get the numbers. That was the mystery. He just did it by sheer coincidence. So
That was the mystery.
That was
Wait, can I
mystery.
just say spoiler alert?
Oh yeah, spoiler. Sorry if not watched them. Well, they're not on iPlayer anymore, so you're not going to be watching for a while. So you've forgotten by the time they come available again. The third one, however, was a lot better. The third one's like a proper original Jonathan Creek. You know, it was a proper mystery. Really built suspense. It was like a proper Jonathan Creek. So, first one not very good. Second one better. Third one very good.
Marvellous.
So
Cool.
seriously,
I didn't even realise there were 5. I don't know why, but because I think Inky started watching them recently.
They're on Netflix. The trouble is, it depends how you count the series, because there's quite a few specials.
Okay.
They sort of did BBC went through a phase of you had series and all you got was specials. So every sort of 6 months you got a special. They did that. So
So basically, when it says like there's 50 seasons of it, there's only like 3, but
yeah, well, there was 5. They call this the 5th season. I think there were 4 sort of normal seasons.
this is the
4.
5th series.
And
There
then
were 4 specials before
There
it.
were several specials in between that. You had the Christmas specials, then you had quite a few sort of like standard. It was quite a traditional thing to have at Easter, a Jonathan Creek special.
Okay.
And to be fair, they are written by sort of one chap. As they lost Caroline Quinton, it's never been quite the same.
I was gonna say, it just seemed like it felt like it was older. than it is. So
Well,
when you said
the
there's a
art
season,
visuals are from sort of, I think the originals come from sort of the late 90s.
Yeah, they
okay.
were
It's-
quite a
it's-
way
so they've
back.
just basically
Yeah.
There's been quite a few gaps in between them. It is quite an old series, and it has been going on for some time. But I think because it just takes so long for the chapter to write them, because it's done by David Renwick. He does a whole lot by himself.
So basically, they haven't completely lost my mind. It just takes a long fucking time
it
to
has,
make.
The first sort of 2 seasons were really good, and it sort of slightly went downhill. The characters they introduced just didn't work. They've done some good things, like there was a side character, which is the American magician, and basically that just got sillier and sillier and sillier as the seasons went on. That sort of started to take over a little bit.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
They've dropped him completely. He's gone. He doesn't do anything with it anymore. That's dropped completely, which is fine by me, because that did get the point of being a bit silly, if I was honest.
No idea what you're talking about.
All right.
Well, cool.
But
It's probably because they're too busy.
Yeah, wasn't that like his original job? He was a magician.
He designed
the tricks.
He
Yeah.
designed the magic tricks, yeah. For this magician, he worked for this American magician designing magic tricks, and used to get involved in this guy's schemes. But,
I don't know why, but this is starting to sound so crazy. I'm expecting some crazy guy with a top hat and a mustache and a
No, it wasn't
monocle
like
running
that.
around
No,
tying
he
people
was
to a train
more
track.
like I'm thinking of the guy that was in Torchwood. He was similar to that guy, wasn't he? The American
Jack Harkness.
Yeah. He was like that.
What, the magician? No, it wasn't like that. No, he was fairly stupid, but he seems himself a bit of a ladies' man. There's at one point where he walks up to. He's been given his he's got a, I think, Japanese girlfriend. She gives him a dressing gown that's got Japanese symbols on it. And he's very proud of it. And he thinks it's great. It makes him look really suave and sophisticated. And he goes up to one of the reviewers and he says, what do you think of it? And the reviewer says, "You've been to Japan?" He goes, "A bit." And he goes, "I did. I spent several years there. I learnt some Japanese." He says, "When you've got a dressing gown that says 'I'm for the shit,'" there's got some quite sort of relevant humour in it, which is quite nice. It has got some of its humour, and it still maintains its slightly weird humour. So episode 1, the guy goes round this woman's house. She's got a daughter called Ripley, and the house is called Nostromo. And he said, "Guess what she's into?" I thought it was quite clear. That's just sort of just random. It's randomly enough to get away with it. It's all right.
It's enough for you to think it's so badass.
Yeah,
Just
it's
like a
not as good as the
documentary about
original.
Dota.
No, it's not as good as the originals, but it's okay. So, Adam,
Right,
tabletop.
onto a tabletop section. Well, I haven't played many new games. I did get an expansion for Descent, but I haven't had a chance to play it, so that'll be something we'll talk about later. I have, however, been playing a game called Red Dragon Inn, which is rather fun. It's a drinking game, but not necessarily a drinking game. The game is basically set in a tavern after the adventurers had gone on their quest. So, like, you got traditional sort of RPG party. You've got 4 characters. There are expansions. I think there's 4 expansions in total, with some extra side expansions that give you like 1 character each. But your 4 main characters that you start off with, there's Jerky the Rogue. He's like a halfling. Fiona the Busty Cleric. Oh god, I can't think of the names of the others. There's a female human warrior though, and then there's a male human wizard who has a pet familiar, which is a rabbit called Pookie, I think. And the rabbit can go into insane rages. That's one of his special abilities. Your basic idea of the game is that you have 2 ways of winning and 2 ways of losing, being that you have money, so you can gamble to make money, and you have a fortitude meter, which is there's 20 numbers on your card, and there'll be a little token on the number 1, a little token on the number 20. Token on the number 20 is your fortitude. The token on the number 1 is your alcohol level. So every time your character takes a drink, which you have to do each turn, your alcohol level goes up slightly, depending on what you had to drink. Your fortitude stays where it is, but other players can affect it with cards. Basically, each player has their own deck relevant to their character. Each turn consists of playing a card from your deck and then taking a drinking card. So your characters are all getting progressively more drunk, and you're all playing different skills to try and screw each other over, basically. It's a pretty fun game. It's not too bad. I, unfortunately, was playing the Rogue, and as we didn't really... it was our first time playing a game. His victory is based on gambling. He forces the players to gamble money, and he will win based on players losing money rather than getting them more drunk, which we failed at miserably. So I didn't do very well in this game. But, yeah, it's not a bad little game, really.
So let me just get to it. So the idea is they're all sat around a table.
Yeah.
what's the source storyline? Why are they sort of trying to get people's
It's-
fortitude down? Is it just been they're talking about adventures they've just been
Yeah,
on?
all
and-
it is they're just like adventurers that have been on a mission and they've come back and they're just having a drinking game of who can get like the most drunk, and whoever gets the most drunk obviously loses, about testing each other's fortitude.
So basically,
Hey,
what
well,
you do is you
how-
play a game
who-
of D&D and then you play a game of this. And
Yeah,
now
I
you've got the
guess you
game
could,
pretty much.
yeah.
It's a walk with whoever gets the most drunk loses. Well, one of these, I'll be on coke all evening. I won't get the most drunk.
But then you're not participating in the fun, Nick. you got to do a bit of drinking and a bit of gambling. That's the
All
idea.
I can say is I'm glad we weren't doing this game last week.
It would have been brilliant.
Last podcast episode.
I might have been the most drunk, but I would also have been the richest somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow. But I bought an expansion for it, which is Cormac the Barbarian. Because one thing that really peeves me about modern tabletop games is back in like the early sort of 90s and in the 80s, barbarians were quite prominent characters in tabletop RPGs, and I love playing as a barbarian because it's just run in, hit things, go into a mental craze, be crazy, which is brilliant, but they seem to be lacking. But one of these expansions is you get to play as a barbarian character, and his abilities are more based on the fact that he can go into barbarian rages. Haven't had a chance to play him yet, but that'll be quite fun when I do. But yeah, it's a pretty fun game. I like the fact that there's two ways to win. That you can either win by forcing the gambling mechanic, which the wizard and the rogue seem to be quite good at, or by forcing the other players to get more drunk than you, or being quite resistant to drink yourself, which tends to be where the warrior comes in, because she can resist quite a few of the effects of the drinks. But yeah, it's not a bad game at all. Relatively quick, only takes about an hour to play,
Yeah.
maybe less, depending on how well you're
So-
doing.
I'm just a bit sort of perplexed, to be honest with you. It's so that you sit around the table, you take it in turns,
Yeah.
and you draw a card.
Right, your turns consist of, you've got your main deck, which is your player deck, which is based on your character. They've all got different decks that do different things. You draw 7 cards to begin with, and then each turn you'll build your hand back up to 7, so you've always got 7 cards in your hand. You play one of the cards from your hand. Could be any kind of effect. For example, the rogue can initiate a gambling section where if you've got cards relating to gambling, you all play them, and whoever has the last card will win the money. You all have to put money in, you bet on it, and then he'll win it. Or you could just play a card that affects an opponent's constitution, fortitude, something
Right.
like that. Then you play a drinking card, which is you pick a card and you take a drink, and you have to suffer the effects of the drink. It could be something that knocks your alcohol limit up by 3 or 4. Could be something that only goes up by 1. Might be a cup of coffee, so you don't go up at all. So yeah, that's the idea. The drink is always random.
Oh, so you mentioned this is a drinking game. So how would you do it in real life?
Well, the way we were doing it in real life is every time you take a drinking card, depending on how much fortitude or alcohol intake it has, you would drink that much. So, if it was quite high, you'd be drinking a whole can or something. If it was relatively low,
Wow,
you'd just
a whole
take it a few
can.
swigs. Or maybe like we go into whole bottle territory. Who knows?
Oh, depends what a whole bottle of.
Yeah,
Whole bottle of whiskey.
whole bottle of whiskey. There you go.
Whole bottle of Evian.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is, there's no strict rules, so you can just stick drinking in if you want. You don't have to play that. We didn't. We just played it regularly. But then you can gamble in it as well if you really wanted to. So it gives you options to play it that way. But I'd definitely recommend it. It's a fun little game. Again, like Luke was just saying, if you've played a game where you've been on a dungeon crawler or an adventure, it's a nice game to play to wrap up the evening where you're all trying to screw yourselves over and make a bit of money and that. All good fun. I tend to like these kind of games where you have like 4 people playing a card game and you're all playing against each other. It keeps the game moving, which is why Munchkin is such a good game. It's kind of similar to that in that regard.
How much is it? Do you know?
I don't think it's that expensive. I think it's within sort of £20 range, so it's relatively cheap. Then each expansion is about the same because it gives you 4 characters, and then the smaller expansions, like the one I bought, which is just for 1 character, they only cost about £10. So it's not bad, relatively reasonably priced.
It's all good.
Yeah,
All good fun. All good fun.
Yep. My
that's
drink of choice, iron brew. See if I can if I can stave off diabetes long enough to finish the game.
It has to be for me. It'd be Captain Morgan's non-spiced normal rum. I don't
Ooh.
like spiced rum.
any old kind of rum for me, really. I'm quite
No,
happy.
you're
Yeah,
banned
we
from
noticed
rum.
that
Yeah,
after
we
the
know.
last
You're
episode.
banned from rum.
Rum is all good. Oh, we'll move up to mead instead then, which is potentially worse.
Yeah, I've never had mead. I'd like to try
Really?
mead.
We shall have to get a bottle of mead in. It's good.
I'd like to try
Oh
mead.
crap! Here we go.
I mean, that's the next podcast.
Mead isn't so bad because you can drink. Well, you can drink mead relatively slowly, or you can be crazy and neck it. But I wouldn't advise it.
This is going to be the Rand Nerds Drinking Podcast,
Yeah.
Yes.
episode 11.
Yeah, episode 11. Drinks we've been drinking, section 1. Yeah.
Episode 11 is going to be getting completely hammered. Episode 100 is then getting killed by the Koreans. Amazing.
By the end of episode 11, we'll just all be singing to each other about drunken songs.
Or should we
Well,
say
sure.
we'll make the
What's-
Drinking
okay.
Podcast episode 50
Okay.
if we ever get there?
Yeah, if we get there.
What is your drinking song? The song you sing when you're drunk?
I don't.
Oh, you silly, you sad person.
Generally, I just go and drink more.
Sea shanties are always good when you're drunk. They're good fun.
It's got, for me, it's Danny Boy.
Oh dear.
I sing Danny
crap.
Boy, the pipes, but I only know about one verse, so I just keep
So
repeating.
it's over and over. Every time he just knocks me.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I have to
pretty
admit, I
much
do
over.
quite like What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor? That's a great drinking song to sing.
Oh,
Yeah.
bollocks.
When you include all the random ones like Shave His Belly with a Rusty Razor, which always seems to make everyone laugh. But anyway,
Right,
getting
okay.
back to the subject at hand, Red Dragon Inn, yeah, I definitely recommend it, especially if you're like a fan of role-playing games and stuff, because it parodies them and it's got comical cards. It's really good fun. Definitely a thumbs up.
Well, stuff we're looking forward to. Luke, you've been very silent so far this podcast.
I was
so
pretty
here's-
silent the last
You
couple
were,
of podcasts
actually, yeah.
as well.
He's so busy sat there fiddling about the levels, he sort of disappears into the ether.
Yeah. I learned some interesting things about the recorder, but that's irrelevant.
Really?
Yeah. It basically, with these microphones, it hisses once you turn the volume over 7, which made me want to punch someone in the face. Editing that out made me want to kill someone by the end of it. So, if you ever want to drive me completely insane, just someone reach over and turn the volume up on one of these things to over 7, and everyone will die. Don't
Which
even
would that be,
one
yeah?
would that be, Luke?
get fucked.
sit here and go the whole podcast.
Seriously, someone's going to do that. Like, look, we'll get someone on mic 4, just have them sit here, and they just have to do something really
Or
stupid.
if we haven't got someone, we'll just cook bacon next to the
Yeah,
mic.
but I can't complain about that. 'Cause I'm
No,
like,
we'd
fuck
sat
it.
there,
No
we-
one would actually
we
talk.
would sit there, it was like saying, and
Bacon.
bacon.
Red Nerds episode
anyway,
12.
games been playing. Oh, bacon, booze, bacon,
Drinking
booze,
and bacon,
booze,
that's
bacon,
what we have
booze,
to
bacon,
have.
Booze, bacon, and
bacon,
boobs.
bacon, booze, bacon, booze,
Seriously.
bacon.
Rand Nerds episode 12 to cover up. So what is that? The Hangover podcast?
That must have been.
Episode
yeah.
11 getting wrecked. Episode 12
But
bacon podcast.
we need to use in 2 days. We do episode 11 the night, then the following morning when we all wake up, we do episode 12.
After how much or how popular the last podcast seemed to have been, I thought it would have been like a staple that I'd have to drink every podcast now.
It is quite amusing. You could hear yourself getting progressively drunk
Which
as
is
the podcast
great,
went.
yeah.
It was quite amusing as it went on. It did get slightly more random as the night went on as well.
I should have saved more sound bites
You
there.
shouldn't have. There were some great
Yes.
ones.
Some of
Yeah.
the stuff I was just sat there crying, laughing halfway through.
But like good Ed, he took him out.
Well, they're all in my own personal archive to blackmail everyone with later on.
I didn't say anything dodgy.
No, you don't think you did. I've still got them all in file. But yeah, so stuff we're looking forward to.
Stuff I'm looking forward to. Yeah, sorry.
It's like derailed.
I'm not looking forward to bacon, to be honest.
Yeah, I was fucking starving. man.
Podcast episode 50. That's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
I thought we were looking forward to getting eaten by, what were they, Jack Russells or Yorkshire Terriers?
Yorkshire Terriers. That's episode 100, Luke.
We need to get him here for episode 50. He'll be here sharing bacon and booze with us.
Look.
It'd be amazing.
Shall I drop her an email? There must be an email.
It must be done.
We've got to do it. Invite him over. Can you imagine if we do actually get if UK gets a visit from North Korea just to come do a podcast?
That would be fucking hilarious. Make it happen.
Be the best thing ever.
Save us going
Can we
over
invite
there.
Putin at the same time?
Yeah, why
Oh,
not?
bollocks.
Get Putin here.
Anyone
We'll
else
spend,
we
the
want to
whole, we'll
invite?
spend the whole day discussing Ukraine-based computer gaming.
Does anyone want to res Adolf Hitler and just put him on a stick?
No, I'd be going too far, Luke.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
Hitler would be crap punk
Yeah.
company. He's
We'll
a bedwetter.
we'll get-
We like Kim. We like Putin. Nah, not
We'll get
Hitler.
yeah. They're just so funny. Basically, to be allowed on the podcast, if you're an evil dictator, you have to look like a James Bond villain. So Putin gets in. Kim, well, isn't a very James Bondish villainous, but he's part of North Korea, which is basically a James Bond villain. He gets in. I don't think there are many other countries left that do that.
James Bond villain. This sounds more like Saturday morning
I was going
cartoon.
to say, well, James Bond villains. Let's think. One of them was Knick-Knack. who was Tattoo from what was
Yeah.
it? Thingy
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island. That's the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd
Man
be
with the Golden-
great.
Man with the Golden Gun, the best James Bond film ever.
Scaramangus.
With extra nipple.
Yeah, what was up with that third nipple business? That was pretty random.
That's so you can identify them, because quite clearly only one person in the whole world has 3 nipples.
And it's Christopher Lee.
It is. I love the song of it. He's got a powerful weapon. You gotta know when the person was writing that knew that was going to be a dodgy line. Anyway, stuff we're looking forward to.
Like, what's this? Third attempt.
Hovering around this now.
Let's do this.
This will be gone by the edit.
Yeah, we've been. No, I'm keeping that. That was gold. I want to see how long it takes for us to get banned from the internet.
Oh, great.
Considering there's shit like B-boards out there, we're going to be the first to actually get cut.
So that we're basically going to have like some sort of axis of evil dictator group doing a podcast.
We've got to do a D&D game when they come over.
Oh, God.
Oh, Christ.
You can Dungeon Master.
No. Clearly Kim will be the dungeon master. He'll be the overlord.
No,
he suits the role.
Yeah, no, he'll want to. No, he'll want to be a player. What player characters would they be? Putin. I reckon.
Putin's clearly going to be the barbarian, man. He loves running around with
No,
nothing on.
I don't think so. No, he's quite sort of. He's good with his words. I reckon he's going to be like a bard.
Putin is a bard.
I reckon he'll be a bard.
I can't imagine this.
This is
Kim
going to be
Jong-il,
horrible.
he thinks the sunshine on his backside, so he'll be a paladin, an evil paladin, but he thinks the sunshine on his backside because nothing can go wrong.
I think he'd be like a god, really. He'd insist on playing as a god character, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, probably.
Have to be a deity.
There you go. Oh, stuff we're looking forward to.
Fourth attempt. Let's do this. Okay, let's actually do this.
I like bacon.
6, 7.
So, Putin, what are your thoughts on bacon?
Bollocks.
Hurry up, Luke. Come on.
Come on.
We're waiting
Fuck it.
here.
It's a
Stop
shame
going.
Gaddafi's gone. We could have had him as well.
As you say, we can add him as well.
Oh, seriously,
no.
we're just bringing people back from the dead now.
Oh God, no. We can still have. Oh God, I'm not Che Guevara.
Ahmadinejad?
No, dude that was with Guevara. What's his name? Why can't
Castro?
I think? Castro. That's the man.
Is he still
I
alive?
think. Yeah, he's still alive. Castro.
he?
Yep.
Oh.
Castro's
In
still
fairness,
going.
I think you've been picking up people that have already been dead anyway. So it's like, wait, what? We're going to somehow manage to raise them from the dead to bring them to the podcast. We're just going to hang them off mics.
We'll go right back
The
to
Rand
Khan, Vlad
Dictators-
Tepes.
The Rand Dictators podcast. Anyway, stuff we're looking forward to.
I'm going to say it now just quickly before everyone gets around. Right, the game that gave us the amazing soundbite, Thunder Tits.
What game could that be?
Hype Dimension Neptunia.
Thunder Tits.
Yes! Lonnie, come on, your turn.
Thunder
Say it,
Tits.
fuckface. Yeah!
Thunder Tits.
Flashback. Amazing. So, Hype Dimension Neptunia was getting a remake for the PS Vita.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, fuck, it's just going to come out in Japan because everyone's like too full of themselves to like Hype Dimension Neptunia. And JoJo fans tried to kill themselves because we had an anime made of the game.
Don't
But,
be listening to JoJo, man. Don't be listening to JoJo.
But it actually turns out that even one of the crazy... Because they had like a spin-off idol game. You know how in Japan they have all these little singy,
like the
dancey...
Hatsune Miku one. I
Whatever.
downloaded the demo
Is that
of
the
that for
whatever
the Vita.
rebirth thing?
the-
Yeah, that like there is actually something worth noting in that game. It's
Is
got
there?
a Fancy Star Online 2 stage in it.
Oh, I downloaded the demo and couldn't get my head around it.
Some crazy,
what's going on?
dancey, fucking rhythm game from Japan. But yeah, Hype Dimension Neptunia got one of those kind of things as well.
Right.
So we're like, okay, we'll never see any of these games come out in England and America.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting for them to bring Yakuza over, the next Yakuza.
Well, here's the trick.
Dude fights a bear in it. That needs to come over.
Dude fights a bear.
You get to fight a bear.
Amazing.
What more could you want from a game?
Quite a
Bacon.
yeah, quite a bit actually. But we didn't think any of this stuff would ever come out, especially not the Idle game. And then they said, well, guess what? We're going to localize the Idle game.
That's
to start
crazy,
with. I was
yeah.
like, so we're going to get a very Japanese game brought over to the UK and
Because
the
actually,
States.
funny enough, mentioning Yakuza, that was one of the things they took out, wasn't it? Like all the social club stuff that they have.
Good times. Just like, cut it, fuck it, it's too Japanese, get rid of it. It's like saying, look, we're going to cut Way of the Samurai because it's too far.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you might as well cut the whole game. The whole game's very Japanese.
No,
Like,
fuck it. It takes place in a foreign country, let's just get rid of it. But yeah, they're gonna re-release Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth, which didn't come out that long ago. That seems they're going through the
Did you
entire
say,
series.
was it that it's going to come out on the Vita?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
Rebirth is the Vita remake of the PlayStation 3 game.
I shall have to pick that up.
So, well, that's why I mentioned it, because you said you wouldn't play it if it was only in Japanese, because obviously it's very story heavy. They're localizing it.
I'll
It's
get that.
Hyperdimension Neptunia 1 with Hyperdimension Neptunia Victory's engine, remade for the Vita. Graphically, it's pretty good. It plays pretty smoothly from what I've seen. They've already released the Japanese version of Rebirth 2, which is Neptunia Mark II. So I guess they're going to do Victory at some point as well. And I guess if sales go well for the other games, then we'll get localizations of those. Although I still can't understand why the only digital download of Hyperdimension Neptunia we've got is Mark II. No number 1, no number 3. Just
That's weird. So what, this
2.
new one is number 1 but remade, is it?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
it's for the Vita.
So I'll have to get both of them then? Or they
well,
both?
we don't know if they're going to release
Because I know
Rebirth 2 yet.
one of them's on the Vita shop, isn't it? There's a Hyperdimension Neptunia game.
No, if you were to search, that would be for the PlayStation 3.
Oh, okay.
That's Hyperdimension Neptunia Mark II.
Oh, okay. Actually, no, I'm thinking of a different game. I just remembered it's that Atelier game or whatever that is. It's another very Japanese RPG.
Yeah. Is that the one where you have to like farm and stuff, like you're an
don't
alchemist or something like that?
Actually, no. I just saw that it was on like the list, and I thought that was Hyperdimension Neptunia, but obviously no, it's not.
No.
I just remembered it's a different game.
Hyperdimension Neptunia being the console wars game. But yeah, I'm pretty surprised they said they were going to localize it. I'll probably
That's
pick it
pretty
up,
cool.
which is pretty hardcore. It was just one of the games I thought would just be completely left in the dust. So we might get the full series remade on Vita, which is going to be pretty hardcore because I'll finally have something worth fucking playing on my Vita.
There's a few good games worth playing on the Vita.
I still haven't played Dragon's Crown.
Got to play Dragon's Crown on there. You need Muramasa.
I've got that. I still haven't played
Have
it.
you got Everybody's Golf for it?
No.
That's worth picking up. I got it for like £3 or something, but you can buy it relatively cheap now, physical if you wanted to, but I think the digital one's still quite cheap. Very, very good game, very addictive.
I have to just quickly throw out there that it's really, really bad when the digital game costs more than physical.
It is,
Whenever you see that and you're like, wait, what?
Vita has a lot of games that you can only get digital as well. There's a lot of
They've
games
started
just
doing that with
brought
3DS
over.
and that as well. And
Yeah.
even what pisses
because
me
I
off is
wanted
when they
Code
say...
of Princess for 3DS, but you could only get a digital version, which really annoyed me because the American one came with like a book and a CD and everything, and it's like, well, that's not fair.
Idea. I mean, they did do something like that with... was it the Fist of the North Star, the second game
Oh, right.
they were bringing out for like PlayStation 3, Xbox,
Oh yeah,
and
the
Wii U?
Ken's Rage one.
Yeah, and the Wii U was like, oh yeah, fuck it, you can only have a digital version. It's like, the fuck are you doing? Why do that? People want a physical disc. But whatever. It's all good.
As a PC game, I've just got so used to digital versions, I don't even worry about it anymore.
Well, I mean, but it's not a problem for PC, because PC has a good system
then
where you
again,
can say
like,
log into another system and download
You
that
can
game
get
onto
physical
another
versions.
PC.
I mean, I bought the
you
physical
can.
version of Dark Souls because it came with lots of free gear. You got like the CD and the art book and everything, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's just when
And
they
it
make
had a Steam
digital
code on
only
it as
and-
well, so you could put it on your Steam as well if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's goals. I want games to do that.
But like I say, when PC has a pretty good platform, Steam is a good platform. You are not just locked onto one system.
Yeah, no, it
PlayStation,
is.
like the PSN, you can only log onto 2 systems, and it's an arse to get it to deactivate all the
Yeah.
other systems. Might be easier now, but whatever.
I hate that because it's a bit annoying that with the Vita, one problem I'm having is the Vita store doesn't have all the PSP games and that, and you have to go through the PS3 store to be able to put them on your Vita.
Yeah, which is
and yet
annoying.
you can only lock it to so much. Like, I don't have a PlayStation 3 anymore, so I'm gonna have to use somebody else's. But then what happens when they want to use their Vita on it? You know, it's just not good.
I think it is just bound to an account rather than to system. But
Which is ridiculous.
at least it's not like the Wii U where it is literally console locked, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Makes you not want to buy anything, because if you do have a
There are
second
things
system,
like that
you're
with
screwed.
Nintendo I really don't like. They're not very savvy with that kind of thing, are they? It's their
Still,
biggest
they
failing.
are still literally living with the NES.
Yeah.
They still think that they can get away with half the crap they were pulling
And like
back
the
then.
region locked 3DS, which was just stupid. I don't know why they had that.
I don't
region
understand why they decided to make that a thing, considering every other handheld system they'd released to date
Yeah.
was region free, which is what made it so great.
locked. Absolutely, I don't understand it either.
One of the things I hated when my brief foray into Xbox 360 gaming, when I was convinced to buy an Xbox 360 by several college friends, and I remember getting it home and I wanted to plug my iPod into it. And you had to download a little bit of software. It didn't cost you anything, it's free, but you download this bit of software to plug your iPod into it. Download it, installed it, didn't install properly. Fine, good. Try to download it again. Couldn't.
Yeah, because didn't that stop working after a certain patch of the
You
dash?
can only download it once per console. And if you download it and it doesn't install correctly, that's it, you screwed.
Marvellous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that made me hate the Xbox 360 and near enough drop
This
it.
is one of these things that all the fanboys out there will defend to the death, even though it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's absolutely stupid. Stupid design.
Good times. Rock on,
So-
Microsoft. More people to cut down in the street. I meant to say there was... Yeah, that'll do.
Right, okay. Thorny.
All right, we finished talking about Hyperdimension Neptune. I
Yeah.
didn't know how much we were going to go into on that.
Thunder tits.
Okay.
Bacon.
Thunder tits.
Thunder
Right.
bacon.
Stuff I'm looking forward to, because
Tits wrapped in
I am a
bacon.
gigantic kid, as it's probably known. I am really looking forward to Adventure Time Season 6. I don't know whether either of these guys have actually watched Adventure Time.
I've seen Adventure Time.
Yeah. No,
Nick,
I
you
had a
watched
feeling
Adventure
Nick
Time.
wouldn't have. Do you like it? Is it something you...
Yeah, it's alright. It's kind of funny.
I mean, I dig it because it's like, even though it's a kid's cartoon, it has Pendleton Ward, the guy who made it, is clearly grown up, liking a lot of the same stuff we have, video games, tabletop games, that kind of thing. And I love how it references very geeky sort of lifestyle things, and it's brilliant. Yeah, it's really good fun. I love the quirky, offbeat humour. I love how utterly warped some of the characters are. It's got that kind of Ren and Stimpy brand of humour to it, but taken to some even more psychedelic levels with some of the characters. Are you familiar with any of the characters?
I can't remember. I know what they look like, but I
Yeah.
can't remember a lot of the characters'
Yeah.
names.
It's a good series. I mean, I've got the first 5 seasons. I'm now looking forward to season 6, and it's one of those series that as you watch it, it started off as just being random silly episodes of random stuff happening, but it's actually managed to develop a story, and the story's kind of poignant at some points, which is interesting because the show's so off the wall and so random that you don't expect that. But yeah, season 6 is starting in April, so that's something that's definitely there to look forward to. Anyone that's sort of into, well, anybody that likes cartoons for a start, and anybody that's into kind of role-playing games and things like that, and video games, should give it a watch, because it does highlight a lot of those sort of things. And yeah,
Because like
parodies
the
them.
kid's like a hero and his dog.
Yeah, I
and-
mean, he's like a hero. The basic premise is Finn the human, because he's the only human now living, is set in a world after a gigantic war. But rather than it being a wasteland, everything's gone crazy, and the world has got like candy people and stuff walking around and other strange beings. And he's like the last human, and him and his pet dog, who's more like his friend, just sort of go on adventures, and they go into dungeons and fight monsters and stuff. And their main nemesis is the Ice King. And he's not even really a villain. He's just a bit of a lonely old dude that lives in this castle. And he kidnaps princesses because he's lonely.
Yeah,
and,
he's trying to constantly get people to be his friend.
Yeah,
but
he wants people to
understand
be
why
his
they don't
friend.
like him.
He's not bad. He's just totally socially inept, and they always beat him down. And then eventually you kind of learn why he's the way he is, and that he's got a spell cast on him that makes him like that. And I won't spoiler it, because there's quite a bit of depth to his character, surprisingly, considering he just started off as this comic relief villain.
They have made a game for it as well.
There's a couple of
recently.
games. Yeah, there's a game, Ice King Stop Stealing Our Garbage, I think it's called, which is the 3DS game. And then there's Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know. And both games are made by Way Forward, who are very good developers. The second one got panned a little bit. It's kind of like a Diablo-esque game. You sort of have a little overworld, and you go into a dungeon that has multiple floors, fight lots of different monsters. But it was said that it's a bit samey and repetitive.
We
But
might have to check it out anyway. if you're a
yeah, I
fan
mean,
of the show.
I'm quite looking forward to it. Well, it is out. I'm thinking of picking it up. It's got multiple characters you can play as, like Finn and Jake, and then some of the other main characters. The other one is 3DS exclusive, I believe, but that's supposed to be quite good. Plays like Zelda 2, so you've got a little
okay.
overworld, and then it goes into sort of a side-scrolling platformer style game. Yeah, there's lots of merchandise for it. It seems to be really popular amongst kids and adults. It's got quite a big following from both. So
it didn't seem like a very. I mean, I know it's a kids' cartoon,
Yeah.
but there were always some little
there's
adulty
lots
bits
of,
in there.
it's got little bits of adult humour and stuff in it. I mean, sometimes I've been like, wow, how did they get away with sticking that in there? Because I'll say a few things and you think that's a bit of an adult joke, but it does go over the
It's
kids'
just
heads.
because kids don't get it.
No, they
can
don't.
keep it
Yeah,
in
they
there.
just like it because it's offbeat and random, and Finn's an adventurer and he fights stuff. Which I mean, I'm sure we can all relate to being kids and having watched He-Man and Thundercats and things when we were growing up.
I had to say I never watched any of those when I was a child.
What did you watch when you were growing up?
I used to watch Horizon, the Dark Science documentary, and I used to watch the Open University programs. And that was about it.
Oh dear.
Rock on.
When I was young, I used to watch Trapdoor when I was young.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's a bit like you. That's got sort of humour on two levels.
It's a bit random, isn't it? Yeah, and it does have sort of adult humour.
Yep.
Oh, well.
I can still remember the end credit music.
But we can get Nick to relive or live his childhood out now. It's for
This
Adventure Time.
explains so much now. Oh my god.
Nick, you're watching every season of Adventure Time with us.
It's like chain him down. You're gonna watch this.
He'll love it. It'll be
We're
great.
going to start you with Barney the Dinosaur and work our way up to my...
I was going to say, funny enough,
and work our way up to My Little Pony.
we're talking about like dictators and stuff, but there's a character in that's a bit of a
What,
dictator.
Kim Jong likes it?
He's based on Kim Jong. I'm pretty sure there's a character called Lemon Grab, and he basically builds his own city and cuts it off from the rest of the world and just enslaves all of his own people and stuff. And they live within his own little world. So, and he's a bit random and crazy, and one of the better characters, I think.
Rad. Everyone watch Adventure Time.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely advise it to people who are into kind of geek culture. It's definitely worth watching. Yeah. So that'll be season 6, and if you've been watching it, there's something to look forward to. If you haven't, I'm pretty sure that you can get sort of season 1.
I think
they
Netflix.
rerun them on Cartoon Network quite a lot as well.
I think it's on Netflix as well.
Oh,
So.
right, well that's good. Yeah, easy to get hold of then.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Moving on to other news. Well, I recently was on Steam this morning actually, and I saw GalCiv 3 available. And I thought, oh, good, early access to GalCiv 3. I love GalCiv 2.
Also, GalCiv being Galactic Civilization.
Yes. And it's a strategy game. I love Galactic Civilization. Really enjoyed it. Early access, I thought, great, I'd love to get early access to a game like that. It could be great. Went on it. How much do you think they wanted to charge to go into early access?
I saw it myself, so I know how much.
I have no idea.
£76.
Which is ridiculous.
Wow.
For early access.
To give you a hand job and deliver unicorn horn?
I don't think so.
That sucks. And not in a good way either.
I mean, when it comes to charging for games, I mean, what we think of this idea of charging... I've no objection to necessarily charging for early access. Obviously, I bought So You Being Hunted early access, but that was £15. But nearly £78. I mean, how much is the full game going to be when it comes out? Because you think early access should be in my mind slightly cheaper because you're buying a lower grade game. It's going to be £100 to buy their full game when it comes out.
Is this like a founders pack or something? Because I know that there's like Hawken had like a £50 pack. And MechWarrior had a big pack. And
I had
stuff
a brief
like
look at it as I was walking out the door, and I looked at it, and there's nothing jumped out at me as a good reason why it was that expensive. It just seems crazy. I mean, how can anyone justify charging that much for a game?
I mean, if it was like a big box collector's edition or something, then sure, right? But
it's early access. How can anyone justify? I mean,
but people will pay it.
They will do. That's the thing. People
and it's
will
encouraging them.
Yeah. I just can't believe it, how anyone can justify it. How can Stardock, who I always had great respect for as developers, can justify putting it out there for that price?
This seems to be the way of gaming at the moment.
Yeah.
This is what developers are doing. They're nickel and diming us in every conceivable way. And what's worse to me is that gamers are content to let it happen. They just buy them. And
Stardock used to be one of the good guys. They were the ones who, they used to have any DRM on their games. None of their games had DRM on them. They were the good guys. And
yeah, but now they've seen there's a lot of fucking cash out there.
The dark side has claimed them.
It's just,
I keep on telling people to stop pre-ordering games and picking up games that have
I
the
was
stupid
actually
exclusive
on
DLC.
a forum earlier having a discussion with somebody about which will be the next game we talk about. Something that happened where a game has been launched at a ridiculous price, and I used the word boycott. Well, they went off on a huge one about me using that word. So, I know you're trying to incite an agenda with people. No, I'm trying to give people an option to not buy a game. And then, it sends a message. If you say to somebody, well, no, I'm not paying that much for your game. If everybody did that, they wouldn't be able to get away with charging the ridiculous price that they do for some of these games. But because people are just lapping it up, then they get away with it. It's ridiculous.
I mean, how much would you be prepared to pay if it's just a game and something you're really interested in? How much would you be prepared to pay max?
I'd push probably 50 quid.
50 quid.
I'd just say 40, your general price. And even then, I think it's a rip-off for how long some games are.
Oh, yeah.
But
then again, you have to think back when we were kids, you know.
Yeah, we'd still be paying the same price.
And a game only lasts
for
an
a game
hour.
for about an hour, yeah.
But then they were hard as nails back then.
Yeah, and also the technology wasn't so big, so they couldn't make games longer. It wasn't possible.
But that's the other thing, they're designed to be replayed again and again and again.
Yeah.
Whereas these days, the game is designed just so you can get through. So
Yes.
everyone has to win.
These days, the games are actually mostly designed for the achievements. A lot of the time, they're just for achievement hunters, which is terrible.
Yeah. I probably, personally, I would be comfortable, if it was just for a game, I probably wouldn't be much. Probably £40 would be my absolute limit.
Yeah.
But it'd have to be something incredible to be £40. For most sort of games, it'd probably be about 30. That would be my sort of limit.
See, I mean, this is where we leap into the whole tabletop thing, whereas I'm kind of comfortable paying £50 for a tabletop game, purely because I know I'm going to be playing it again and again and again with lots of people. There's no chance of that game ever being cut off. You know, it's like I'm not going to have to upgrade console to play it again. I could play that game whenever I like. We could be 20 years down the line and I'd still be able to crack that game out and play it.
It's funny actually you say that now thinking about it, because, I mean, the latest edition of Warhammer, that's about 50 quid to buy the rule book. But something that's different because you're getting something, a physical thing with it.
Yeah, I suppose in a way certain tabletop games like Warhammer could be compared to the games industry in the sense that in some, not obviously if you're happy to play with the old rules and the old sort of models, that's cool, but in like tournament sessions, people have to upgrade, which again is like nickel and diamond people really. Rather than adding more content, they're just rebooting the old stuff and saying, oh no, you got to buy the new version.
Well, yes and no. They do things like they redress the rules. I mean, the news version 40k, they have completely rebalanced it, and it does make it plays a lot better than it used to. They have done a lot of work to make it, and they've tried to make it more future-proof.
I'm cool with that, but then they will then go and say, oh, and now we've completely revamped the Space Marines, and they've got new models, and now your old models don't count. And it's like, well, no, that's not cool.
They're very rarely if they ever made a model, actually took a model out of a game.
Oh, have they?
Very rarely. The last one I knew about was they took out the Skaven Doom wheel.
So if you were to take part in a tournament, would you be able to use some of the old models? Would
Yeah.
they? Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, it's fine. I've got the latest Space Marine Codex, and all the models I had when I first played one from 2003 are still valid.
That's good. I mean, another game that wouldn't allow that is Magic the Gathering, where if you're playing the current tournament set, you have to have that current set. You can't play the old cards, which I think is, again, a form of nickel and diamond. They're making people buy new things for it, which is not right.
That is, it's you're forcing people's hands. But also, you can't take an 4th edition army list, with the old points values and everything to a tournament set up. You have to use the new army points values. I suppose in some ways they can make a model redundant if they, for example, adjust the points in a way that makes, or they adjust the game style in a way that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And certain models go out of favour. I mean, previous editions of Warhammer used to favour what they called MSUs, multiple small units, and everybody, because the way that victory points used to work, people used to have lots of smaller units because it made it harder to basically take them out because you can only target one unit at a time.
Yeah.
They used to have multiple smaller units to make it harder to take your army down, and then they changed that they changed the way victory points worked, so then people started buying all armoured vehicles. Every unit was mobilised and you had whole armies just mobilised.
So it's unbalanced again.
Yeah, whatever they do, it's always going to be, whenever you have asymmetrical size, you'll never ever have a balanced game. Just not possible.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they did put a chart on. They actually a third-party website you could submit all your Warhammer games to.
All right.
And you could submit what they were, points values, and who won. And actually, they produced a chart, and you'd be surprised actually. Nearly, if you compare like everybody to everybody else, they're all roughly 50-50.
Oh, that's pretty
cool.
So
they were reasonably well balanced.
I always thought that Space Marines would be on the victory.
It did vary between, like I say, roughly 50-50. It could potentially go up to like 55-45. But that's still reasonable odds.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we might have
we've
gone off topic.
Gone off topic, yeah.
See, I'm curious because you said that Warhammer and that is a little bit more reasonable because you just get something physical. So would you say that the higher price, 'cause you said £30, is that just because it's a digital purchase? Is that why that's your limit for a game, or?
What I was
if you were
going
getting
into,
a big box, or...
I went into the Warhammer thing as an example of where tabletop goes wrong for me. Whereas with a tabletop game where I'm buying a whole game for 50 quid with potential expansions down the line, but I've got essentially the whole game in the box for 50 quid.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy with that because, as I say, that's a game I can play again and again and again. I don't have to worry about it ever going out of date. Whereas with a video game, I'm not always going to have that luxury. And unless maybe with a PC, you might do. But with something like if you're buying a console game, when the next console comes out, it's not always going to be backwards compatible. Your game may well be rendered redundant. So,
which is the way it's been with the most recent.
I suppose we comparing against games, with the case of Warhammer, we're almost close to like sort of microtransition game.
Yeah,
whereas most box games, though you might have expansions, are more close to traditional game.
Yeah,
I wouldn't spend £76 on a box game.
No, I wouldn't go to that extent. No, I mean 50 quid is my limit.
I bought Battlestar Galactica. I bought that for 55. The only reason I paid that much for is because it's our print.
Yeah,
and you had to pay the money to get the copy of it, so I had to basically pay extra for it. That's the only reason I spent that much money on it. But normally I wouldn't spend that much money on a game like that. But you did get a hell of a lot of stuff with it.
But still, even your limit, regardless, is still around the £30 mark. So I'm just curious if this is curious if this is just how you've been conditioned being a PC gamer, getting stuff so cheap on Steam.
Possibly, yes.
Because you expect every game to be cheap or cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. I mean, I've never paid for a new game. Again, this is something special. I've never paid for, and usually I wouldn't pay for a digital copy more than about £40.
I think again for me it would have to be based on like how much content and such is in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, as you guys
that
know,
would take a part of it. Yeah.
I really love George Kamatani's games and Vanillaware's games to the extent that I own a couple of copies of some of them because I bought them when they came out in the States, and then I bought the English versions purely so I could get the DLC for them. But again, because it's a developer I trust, I don't mind paying the full price tag for the game because I know I'm going to get what I'm looking for from it.
Shamefully, I've done that a couple of times with developers that I don't trust just because I really love the game. It was Army of Two.
All right.
Seriously, if someone says, right, Army of Two's coming out next week and it's going to be on the Xbox One, I'll say, I'll buy the game, but I'm not going to be able to play it because I'm not buying an Xbox One. Yeah.
So if Army of Two come out on the PC, early access beta for £76.
Fuck.
See, I wouldn't do that then because my main reason for liking Kamatani in his games is because of how reasonable he is and how he does make games that because of the passion of the game.
Developer itself.
Yeah. But if the developer turned on it and said, "Oh well, no, you have to pay," I'd drop him. I'd say, "Nope, not doing that," because as far as I'm concerned, they're selling out. They're becoming just as bad as
the big guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got to the point where your game is costing you because if it is a case of they haven't set that for that much because it's simply costing them that much to develop it, perhaps they're overstretching themselves.
I'm going to use this as an excuse to jump over to the next thing, actually, because the next thing we're discussing, which is in a similar vein, so it fits quite well into this, is the release of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, or is it just Metal Gear Ground Zeroes?
I have no idea now.
It's the next installment in the Metal Gear series, either way, from celebrated developer Hideo Kojima, who I really do respect generally. He makes very good games, puts a lot of work into them. He's clearly a very passionate developer. Anyone that's played
the
Metal Gear games does, you can see how much he loves making these kind of games.
Gets lots of death threats whenever he says he's going to retire.
Yeah, but Ground Zeroes he released at between £30 and £40, and the game's essentially a demo. It's been released because there's another Metal Gear game coming out soon enough, and this is like the tech demo for that game.
Yeah.
But whereas, say, Metal Gear Solid 2, if anybody remembers, we got a demo of that with Zone of the Enders.
Yeah. Yep.
And the demo was quite lengthy. It gave you the whole tanker, didn't it? The whole tanker section.
No, it was actually the Olga fight.
It was up to the Olga fight, yeah. So
they used to jokingly say that when you bought Zone of the Enders, you weren't buying Zone of the Enders, you're buying the Metal Gear Solid demo, and you got Zone of the Enders free with it.
Yeah.
I remember they used to say that about Crackdown and the Halo demo.
Oh, right.
You know, everyone who bought Crackdown, the only reason they bought it so they could play Halo when it came
But
out.
the
I
thing-
will
Against
admit,
the
when
Halo
I got
beta.
so in the end, is the first thing to do was put the Metal Gear Solid
The
demo
thing
on
with
the
it was the Metal
PlayStation.
Gear Solid demo on that game was quite. You could do quite a lot in it. It was a very cool demo, and then he did kind of disappoint us by releasing the full game, and then it's like, oh, you're not Snake, you're Raiden, which upset quite a few people. I mean, it was still a good game, but it did hurt the game for me because I was going into it expecting to be Snake, and
It didn't help that
yeah.
the second section, the was it big plant?
yeah, when you're in the big
Big
shell.
shell.
Big shell, that's it. It didn't help that big shell was nowhere near as interactive.
It wasn't, no,
as
at
a
all.
tanker. It seemed that they put all their effort into the tanker section and getting that good and showing off, all the stuff you could do. You can show off, you can show the individual box. I remember just a video of them shooting boxes off the
Shooting
shelf.
watermelons and all that kind of stuff.
And then you played the big shell, just was never really that
It wasn't.
interactive.
But with what he's done with Ground Zeroes is for this new Metal Gear, he's released this as a standalone like tech demo, but he's charging full price for it. The game
Never know.
lasts between it's I think it got dropped to 30, didn't it? From 40 to 30.
Basically, as soon as people started complaining about the price drop.
And he dropped the voice actor, I can't think of his name.
David
Hayter.
Hayter. Yeah, he switched him in for Kiefer Sutherland, and I'm not knocking
What?
Kiefer Sutherland's a good actor.
But he's not Snake.
Does not fit Snake, and so Snake is now voiced by Kiefer Sutherland.
They
or
think
Big
there's
Boss.
a reason for that.
Yeah, there's potentially a reason for it. We don't know what that's going to be yet. Hideo is the master of ruses, so maybe he'll come out with something. But yeah, the idea being that him releasing this game, it lasts 2 hours. There's barely anything to it. People have been complaining. Other people are defending it.
Because some people are claiming they're getting about 5 hours out of it if you
which they're
do
not.
absolutely everything.
Which they're not. Somebody else that I've spoken to has said, well, even if you do that, you only get like an extra hour maybe of gameplay.
But that would be like me saying, right, I'm collecting all the dog tags and MGS2. Now I've added on an extra couple of hours
which
to the
essentially
game. But...
you don't. It's just filler, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of think that Kojima deserves a bit of backlash for this because as much as I love him, he's stepping into becoming, like we were just saying, what could have happened to, or what I was saying as an example, if Kamatani had done this, I'd be like, whoa there, I love your games, but you can't nickel and dime people like this. And I kind of feel that's what Kojima's doing here, and I think he needs a bit of a kick up the arse about it.
Because in
Because,
fairness, don't you think this is where, because we've killed demos.
yeah.
I mean, we don't get magazines anymore with CDs and DVDs with demos on them. You don't get demos usually anymore with games.
There are still
So-
some out there.
You can download them, can't
Gunpoint
you?
had a demo when it came out on the Steam. There was a demo version.
There's quite a
of
few
Gunpoint.
demos on Steam, and you get
Yeah.
them on like PSN and stuff, don't you? So you can still get them, but they're few and far between.
Yeah,
Not every
clearly
game
used to
has
be.
one. Like they used to, every game had one, didn't it? At one stage.
Oh yeah. So is it actually advertised? I mean, I must be. I used to be a big fan of Metal Gear, but I'm completely lost track of it since I've become more PC focused. Because
What was the last Metal Gear Solid game you played?
Well, played all the way through was Metal Gear Solid 3, which
what
I
did
really,
you
I love
think
that.
of that?
I like that.
I really
I
liked
hated
it.
loved-
that with a passion.
I
Did
love.
you?
Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the few games that I remember seeing. Actually, most games I sort of go, okay, it's sort of 9:30, I'll stop playing. I played that to about 3 a.m. in the morning. I knew it was 3 a.m.
I really like
my
Metal
dad
Gear
got home
3.
from doing his night shift.
Metal
As it
Gear
was-
1 and Metal Gear 3 are awesome.
Yeah, I like them. Metal Gear Solid 2 it was okay, but not brilliant.
I was actually a bit of a dick with Metal Gear Solid 2 when people I knew who hadn't played Metal Gear Solid 1 came round. And they said, because at the start of the game it would say, have you played Metal Gear Solid 1? And if you hadn't, it would skip out parts and change parts of the story ever so slightly to fit. I said, look, if you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 1, I'm not letting you play through the tanker mission. If you want to play through the tanker mission, you have to sit down here and play Metal Gear Solid 1 first.
Good. Metal Gear Solid, the last actual Metal Gear game I played, not 4, it was Metal Gear Solid 4, but it never quite gelled with me.
Mm-hmm.
I got as far
I haven't
as
actually
meeting,
played 4.
I got as far as meeting the guy who's got the monkey.
Drebin.
Yeah, I got as far as him, and got just a bit past him. That's it. I never played it again. I don't know why. It never grabbed me like number 3 did. Number 3 grabbed me from the go.
See, 3 played really well. I really liked what they did with it, but I just couldn't get on with some of the kind of villains. And I know that Hideo Kojima does some really crazy things with villains,
Revolver
but
Ocelot was really bizarre.
it wasn't Revolver that got me. It was
he's got even more bizarre than that, hasn't he?
it was the just the general. I can't remember what it
Volgin in number
was.
3.
Whatever. Fuck, I hated that character so
And the
much.
whole Raiden love scenario that was a bit strange.
I love the fight scene at the end though.
That was
I
good.
didn't get
Yeah,
that
the
far.
sniper
That what you
battle.
mean?
If you say, because you could save the game at any point, including that boss battle. So if you saved the game in the boss battle, then went off for a week, come back,
Oh, yeah,
you died
he
of old
actually-
age.
Yeah. How did you know about being able to kill him before as well? There's a point where you can see him being pushed in his wheelchair and you can snipe him before you even get to the boss battle, which is quite cool.
Yeah, those all details I think are.
All that stuff was good.
yeah.
Just some of the characters really ruined it for me.
I
It
have
just
got to
disconnected
say,
me so
my
much.
reason for loving Kojima isn't for Metal Gear. I love him because of Snatcher and Police Noughts and his old sort of point and click games that were. I mean, Snatcher was based on. It was an amalgamation of Blade Runner and Terminator mixed into two things. It was a very cool game. And I like him because of those games. And he's become so absorbed with Metal Gear that he doesn't make, other than his little Zone of the Enders bit where he made the two Zoe games, he's just concentrated on Metal Gear. And he's a legendary developer. I mean, he's got my respect for the amount of good games he's made, but I think that makes it even more important that he gets a backlash for this, so that he understands that doing something like this isn't cool. You know, you've developed a fan base because you make good games and you're not overcharging for them. Whereas when you're bringing out a tech demo and charging your fans for it, you're essentially stabbing them in the back. They're like, it's not very good.
You say that he's all getting absorbed Metal Gear, but is that partly because he's got to absorb it? It was partly because of the fans.
I think it might well be a fan base issue as well.
Every time he says, I'm going to stop making Metal Gear games, or this is going to be my last one, he gets death threats.
Interestingly, though, maybe that might raise the point that he might well be doing this to get away from Metal Gear. He's just going, right, I'm going to charge a bomb for it so everybody gets pissed off so that I can get out of Metal Gear and start making something different.
Metal Gear Solid 3 actually designed mainly by somebody else?
I don't know.
I have a feeling that Metal Gear Solid 3 was actually designed by somebody else, and he was there sort of as creative consultant, but he took the right hands off, and the idea was that he was there to sort of say, well, I'm here, I can make sure it's all okay, but then this other guy, this is to prove this other guy could take on the project. The idea was then he was going to hand him the reins, but obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So Ground Zero, is it actually advertised as a demo for the main game?
No,
it's advertised as
a full
a
game.
game.
Yeah,
is it actually like a prequel to it, or what? How does it fit in?
Yeah, it's a prequel to the new game that's coming out. So it's
coming out next year,
advertised.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Next year.
it's kind of advertised as a taster, but also being sold at the rate of a full game, which is like
that's the problem.
That's the issue.
That's what I was getting. I just want to know if it was actually a demo. They were advertising you're buying a demo.
I'd be totally fine with it if he released it and say charge £15 for it, maybe 20 at a push, because it's not a full game, and made people aware that it's not the full game, but you're not paying full price for it. That would be
like
totally
charging
fair
for the demo of MGS2 that you got.
Yeah.
But I mean, at
they
least
did in a way, didn't they? Because you buy Zoe in the end.
Yeah,
but I bought Zoe because I liked Zoe.
But at least then
like
he's not, because I mean, you are going to get some gameplay out of it. But 40 to 30 to 40 quid for a game that's not even a full game, that's asking a bit much, I think.
And from what I've heard, no spoilers, but you can pretty much skip it because they reckon that you could probably put all of Ground Zeroes into like a little, say, couple-minute cutscene and tack it on to the beginning of the next game, and
do you
that's
think
it.
that's what they'll probably do, or do you think they'll actually incorporate Ground Zero into the main game?
Well, they'll have to incorporate it into the main game in some way, because it's.
I mean, as in that game will become part of the main game, so you'll play that first.
I don't think I'll do that.
Even as an extra?
No, I mean, can you imagine the amount
From what I
of outrage that
understand, you
would
can.
cause?
From what I understand, if you beat Ground Zeroes, you do unlock crap for the next game to come out. But I think that's what's selling it, and it's a fucking Metal Gear game, and people are like, oh, I can get loads of extra shit for the next game. It is the whole Crackdown thing again, where people are just buying it to play.
It does bother me that because it's
Kojima,
Kojima, it's like it's okay. It's like it's not. Even if he's which he is, he's a really good developer. He still deserves to be pulled up on it. It shouldn't be something that he gets away with just because he's a well-known developer. That makes it worse.
I think any developer, no matter who you are, should be able to get away with something like that.
And I mean, in forums and stuff, because I'm kind of saying that it's not a good thing. I'm catching a lot of heat off people because they're so far up Kojima's backside that they don't want to hear it. And it's like, well, you know, you've got to critical think about this. You can't just forgive him for it and say, oh, it's okay, it's Kojima, because then he's just going to do it all the more, and that's not cool. That's not how you should treat your fans.
But that's the same thing as if you were to, say, slag off Halo or Gears of War or one of the other ridiculously big franchises. People will just instantly jump down your throat the second you have anything to counter their favourite series.
I mean, I have to admit, I'm a bit of a Kamitani fanboy. I do defend his games quite a bit, but and think that
he
they
doesn't
don't get the
have anything
recognition
particularly,
he deserves.
Out there.
No,
you're not talking AAA here.
Oh no, definitely not. They
because people are buying the PlayStation 4 just to play Ground Zeroes here.
See, I did buy the Vita just to play Dragon's Crown, but because I know that with him I'm going to get a game that's good. Yeah. And if he did change that, if he went the way Kojima's going now, I'd certainly have something to say about it. I can't see it happening, but if it ever did, and I think you have to be like that, even with the developers you love, because we love them for a reason. And if they start moving away from that reason, well, bad business for everybody.
So here's a question though: we're seeing that we're playing Kojima, but is it more like to be Konami?
Well, yeah, I think it would be the both of them, really.
Is it? But I don't know how much control he has over this. Is it a case of Could
you imagine he's developed this and he's like, right, here's what we've got so far, and they say, well, why don't you just kind of cut that piece off? Kind of like, just imagine this being Tanker from MGS2, and they say, well, this is what you've got now, but what we'll do is we'll package it. And then that'll shift more systems.
I think he's still at fault to a degree, although maybe not as much if it's Konami doing it. But he's still at fault for not, doing something about it. I mean, look at Inafune. When Capcom were messing with his livelihood and making him do things with Mega Man, he said, fuck this, and he left, which was the right thing to do, and then started working on his own project. And Kojima's got enough force behind him to be able to do that. He could easily tell Konami to go fuck themselves and go set up his own thing easily. He's got enough of sway.
He kind of does, doesn't he?
He's pretty much the biggest name developer in Konami. You think Konami, he's the first developer that's going to come to your mind.
He's the only developer I could think of for Konami.
Yeah, he'd easily win sway there.
In fact, to be fair, Metal Gear game. Well, if you've mentioned Konami games, all I think of Metal Gear games.
Yeah, Metal Gear and Castlevania are probably the two big ones for Konami.
Silent Hill, I suppose. Silent Hill.
Oh yeah.
Silent Hill.
I haven't thought of Silent Hill in years.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one game I like which Konami made. Off a bit of a tangent. I can't remember what it's called. Was it called Shadow? It was one where it was a very sort of non-combat game. Basically, you had to prevent your own murder.
Shadows of Memory.
Yeah, I know the one. Yeah,
I like that game.
That's an interesting game. Well, Suikoden 2 is like my favourite Japanese RPG, and that's Konami.
That was a female lead on that. There was a woman who led that.
Oh, that's good.
Shadow of Memories.
Like,
People really hated that game, and I thought it was pretty good.
I quite enjoyed it. It was an interesting game.
It was different.
It was well, there was only really one way you could really go through the game, but them endings.
Actually, no, so there
were multiple endings, but
only one of them was good, wasn't it?
You'd kind of you'd just have to point your character in a certain direction. Like, there wasn't really anything. You didn't have time to explore. If you did, you were likely to die and fuck up the game, and then you'd have to start again.
No, it was a bit of a time limit to it, but there was sort of ways and means you could do it. I
like the fact that it experimented, though. It did something new. I like games that do that. If they try something different.
Even if people didn't like it, and I liked it, but those endings really stuck. I mean, I don't remember jack about the game, but I still remember the first ending I got.
It was very well acted. Well,
right.
compared to games of the time.
But then again, sometimes I think some of those games do require cheesy acting. Anyone that's played Deadly Premonition will know that the cheesy acting is part of what makes the game. Gives it its character.
Yeah. But just the idea of having to. Okay, I've just been murdered. I know how I was murdered. Now I've got to work out a way to stop myself being murdered. I just like the idea. That was such a clever idea.
Yeah, and if you meet yourself, you fail as well, don't you?
Yes.
If you run into
paradox.
Yeah.
That was
excellent.
Clever. The story was pretty good.
But you knew the bad guy was straight away, though, didn't you?
Yeah, but you don't say that.
Yeah.
Even though the game is really old, I still think people should experience that one.
I think so, yeah.
But I'm saying, when you play the game, whoever you think the bad guy is, you're right.
Yeah. But definitely a good game that a lot of people overlooked. But just going back to the whole Ground Zeroes thing. So imagine you've just gone and picked up a PS4 just for this. Completely, everyone's like, oh, it's like cringe over. How would you feel? I want to know how just ignoring the fact that it's a fucking 30 quid tech demo.
I would
How do you feel?
I would take the PS4 back and claim it was faulty.
You'd seriously do that?
I would seriously do that and get a refund on it.
Okay, Thorny?
Probably the same, to be honest. Although I'd be more mad at the game than the console, but either way.
I mean, let's say that's all that it had that you wanted to play at that point.
Right, yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed. I don't buy consoles at launch anyway. I think that's a silly thing to do, but...
To be fair, I wouldn't generally go and buy a console or game without reading up on it first. I don't just generally do that. There are a few games that I'll put my money down for, but...
Let's say this is one you really had to have, though. And
Then
at this
I
point,
would
then
be
it hadn't
absolutely
been.
gutted. I'd be angry, and as I said, I'd take the console back.
Launch titles are always really bad, though, aren't they? I mean, there's not many consoles that
It's a bit
have
late
had...
to be a launch title.
Well, PS4 hasn't been out that long, has it?
Yeah, it's not that
A
long.
few months.
Still.
Yeah, it's still within the launch window, I'd say.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't think that a lot of consoles ever launched with, or even for the first few months ever had many good games, did they? You got the odd gem here and there, but there'd normally be at least or just one game that would be a solid launch title. Everything else would be a bit sort of subpar.
Flaky. Maybe. I'd say some consoles have had pretty solid
Yeah,
launches. But
generally
that's all
like
down to opinion.
Nintendo consoles or consoles that are well established, like would be more likely to.
I just love the fact that people always defend the shit at launch just because there's nothing else to play. It's like, oh yeah, 9 stars. It's like, why?
Yeah.
For what?
Just blatant fanboyism, isn't it?
like, yeah,
which is what's going on here, really, with the Ground Zeroes thing.
It's all basically because
blatant
you just
fanboyism
bunged down
defending
like
it.
600 quid on a console, and
It's a case of trying to actually make yourself feel better about the fact you just spent this money on something. It is.
Buyer's
It is.
remorse.
Straight out.
It is. It's like saying, "Shit, I've bought this crap," but it's brilliant. It's really, honestly, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. The blinkers go on, and you can't see the faults because it's got to be brilliant.
The
'cause you've
only
just spent
console
money
I
on it.
ever, or I can remember buying at launch and being really satisfied was the Dreamcast.
Yeah,
it
it's
had
pretty
some
cool.
fantastic launch titles.
I got that pretty late in
Very
its life, but it was an
solid
amazing
lineup.
system.
Got it the day it came out, never regret it. Best decision I ever made.
We got a PS2, and I got Time Splitters for it, and that was fantastic.
Time Splitters is a good game,
I'm trying to
yeah.
think the first game I played on PlayStation 2. That'd have been Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I enjoyed the
Onimusha
series,
Warlords
though.
was the first
Actually,
game
tell you
I
what,
played.
that was a brilliant
That was a
PlayStation
launch
2.
title,
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
it?
And that had SSX. Zoe wasn't launch title for PlayStation 2.
SSX was the launch title, yeah.
SSX was.
Zoe was like Metal Gear, wasn't it? It came out a few months after.
It was,
so
yeah.
in the
Near
launch
enough
window.
on the door.
I remember getting Zoe. I liked that.
I actually remember when I actually saw it. I can remember picking it up.
Because it was a blue disc. That's how you know when it was an early title, because they were on the blue discs.
That
weren't
was,
they? Which were
CDs.
CDs, yeah.
That was Dynasty Warriors 2 as well.
Oh yes, classics. Yeah, Onimusha was as well, blue disc.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because that was one of the first games I got. I remember
Fair
getting
dude.
that for it.
I might have to
Good
dig
game.
mine out and play that through. I never finished Onimusha 2.
I did Onimusha 2, but I never played Onimusha 3. Onimusha 2 wasn't as good as Onimusha 1, though. It was a good game, but yeah, I don't know.
So they did the same thing with Onimusha like they did with Tenchu, where the first one was really solid and then it steadily went.
I don't know,
a
actually.
little crazy.
Tenchu 2 is the best one, I think. I love Tenchu 2. Tenchu 1's good, but I think Tenchu 2 really perfected it. Yeah, very good game.
Same thing they did with Metal Gear Solid, really. First game, pretty good. Second game,
yeah.
Third
3 was
game,
good.
third game, design-wise, was amazing. I just couldn't get into any of the characters. And then 4 was...
Metal Gear
I
1
don't
had the
know
best characters. I mean, the whole Foxhound unit was fantastic. Really good villains, and all had their own motivations for doing what they were doing, and you kind of sympathised with them as well, which I liked.
And none of them seemed too over the top. Which is why I think they went a little crazy with 3 and 4.
I'm
Yeah,
not so
Mantis
sure
was a bit,
about
wasn't
that.
he?
Yeah, and the one, what was his name? The one of the big machine gun.
Vulcan Raven.
Yeah, that was a little bit.
The whole discussion of the year
yeah.
pulling contest. I thought
Sniper
was
Wolf
quite
was good. I like the Sniper Wolf battle on that.
What I'm saying is there were more less crazy characters in 1.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't
yeah.
having like Fat Man in number 2, big fat dude on roller skates drinking wine and planting bombs everywhere.
Yeah,
which
pretty
was
much.
just like, okay, whatever.
I can't remember what the end guy was in 2.
For it.
the boss, you mean? And the last boss in
You
number
had-
2.
Fucking
Yeah.
Doc Ock.
That was
coming to play.
Solidus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, I still can't figure out that ending.
Solidus.
Who's the president from?
It turns out
the
that
first one?
Solidus, in some ways, was the good guy, but he wasn't because he was using child soldiers, wasn't he? But there was like, it gave you one of those situations where actually Solidus was fighting for the right cause, but going about it the wrong way. It was sort of a bit of a catch-22 there.
To be honest, I think after getting through the cutscene, that hour-long cutscene at the end,
I think Naked Riding was enough to put people off.
I lost track of the of what on earth was going on, and just sort of played it. That very disappointing sword battle at the end.
Yeah,
that was really shit. And then I still have no idea. There's someone has written like a 2,000-word essay on the internet explaining the actual ending, and that's the only way I understand what the ending's about. Someone actually written an essay on it. Because didn't Metal Gear Solid 4 hasn't it got something like 90-minute cutscenes in it? I've been told.
I don't think it's that bad.
I don't
but
know.
It is pretty much one long fucking cutscene. Stealth moment, cutscene.
I need to play the
Stab someone.
the other Raiden game.
Rise and Revengeance.
Yeah, in fact that might have been the one you were thinking of, Nick, because that's one that Kojima only had slight input on and was made by a completely different development team.
Style-wise, that game's amazing. Story-wise,
I heard that the story is entertaining, though, and the fact that it's cheesy and silly.
yeah, it takes the piss.
And the last boss is supposedly brilliant.
I wouldn't know. I haven't got that far.
If I don't Metal Gear Solid 2 was that it ruined the Metal Gears. It made them so weak.
Yeah.
Because at the end you take on 25 of them.
Yes.
Yeah, mass-produced Metal Gear Raid. That's the thing, though, because then was it in? Okay,
didn't it turn out that
in,
it was a virtual mission or something?
There was a virtuality bit in the
But in 4, they set the original Ray on Rex. You know, the battered up Rex.
Yeah.
And Rex kicks the shit out of it.
Yeah.
With no trouble at all.
Yeah, the Rex was pretty cool. That was a good boss fight.
But I just think that the bosses went, the characters went a little over the top in 3, and they were just ridiculous in 4, and that's just why I couldn't get on with the games.
Yeah, I got to admit, 3's unit was a bit silly. I liked the end, but then you had like the fear with Michael Bell's excellent voice acting, but the character itself was just like, what the hell? Well, I can't think what the other ones were. The sorrow, the
in
pain.
many ways, the 3 was actually trying to. It was almost like a remake of the first one in many ways. The character team, you had the sniper, you had the you had the hearted. It was sort of in some ways. Although I still don't forget what they used to revolve Ocelot. Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Ocelot was in 3, wasn't he? When he was younger.
He used to make a silly meow noise every so often, didn't he?
Yes.
As my sister said, he's gone gay.
Well, he is, isn't he? He is actually a homosexual.
He
and he was.
But he was overtly homosexual.
And
I don't think the Russian army would let him in the way he was acting.
Well, they wouldn't these days, would they?
At the time, I don't think the Russian army would let him in.
There was the whole thing that he had the obsession with Big Boss, wasn't there? That he was actually, he wanted to be romantically involved with Big Boss, and they hinted at it in 4 with the little. I won't ruin it. Actually, there's a little hint at it in 4 that's quite amusing.
Another good Metal Gear Solid 3 is you could twiddle your pistol around your finger.
Marvellous.
In first person view, if you had the revolver out and you went in first person, you could actually spin it around in your finger.
The ways they changed the gameplay in 3 was good. I like that.
The camera system was good, yeah.
But I just can't get over that. I just didn't like the characters at all. And people always jump down my throat and say, how the fuck could you not like Metal Gear Solid 3?
Expansion to 3 changed the camera, didn't it? There was an extra version. There was like they did subsistence, didn't they? Yeah, subsistence is the third one, and it made it so you could move the camera behind Snake, whereas the original version didn't have that. It was still, but because of the way the game was made, the above camera didn't work as well as it did in the older ones. So with 3, when they added the whole 3D camera, it worked a lot better. But yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. You will get blatant fanboys going, "Oh, how can you not like that?"
And I actually had I think it was like a 4-hour discussion. Like they just couldn't understand.
I
why
can totally
I didn't
see why you wouldn't, especially coming from 1 and how good the characters were in 1. See, because this.
I played the original Metal Gear, and I mean, don't get me wrong, that wasn't, completely grounded in reality, but
the old MSX game.
Yeah, after a while. They were as close to, the kind of real-time stealth mission stuff you were going to get way back when.
Yeah.
And then when they start people that can throw lightning and fucking all this stupid shit, it was just like, what are you doing? Like, I just got completely disconnected from it.
I mean, because the Psycho Mantis stuff was a bit weird.
That was a bit flaky,
forgivable.
but the way it was designed was.
But everything's now nanomachines, isn't it? That's sort of the response.
Yeah, pretty
Why
much.
has this happened? Nanomachines.
I always
Shit,
thought
Deus Ex
the
Machina.
fortune battle from Metal Gear 2 was just a bit silly.
I did like the twist though, that she thought she had amazingly good luck, but it turned out that Ocelot had fitted over force field without her knowing it, and that's how she was able to dodge the bullets.
Mythbusters actually tried that. It was in Mythbusters, they actually tried the electromagnet to repel bullets.
Oh, what?
They tried that, so they would actually work, and, well, it doesn't work.
Nope.
No matter how powerful they could make
Do you
it,
know
it just
why?
didn't work.
Nanomachines, that's why.
Mythbusters doesn't have nanomachines.
No, we'll have to complain to him.
Or Hideo Kojima's magic.
No, true.
His unicorn horn pipe. Because clearly he's smoking something by the time he hit MGS3.
I love. Do either of you follow him on Twitter?
No.
It's great. He comes out with some wild random stuff. He's really awkward and it's so funny.
He says, like, now I'm having a bacon sandwich while sitting on the toilet. That kind of random.
Yeah, kind of. There was
Who
like
translates for him?
he translates himself, so it's
Apparently
it's,
Bing or
it's
Google
in
Translate.
English, yeah, because he can't. He doesn't know very good English, so it's a lot of it is written in English, and you can't always get what he's trying to say. Because I remember he went to that award, didn't he? Award ceremony thing that they were doing for games, and he stumbled on stage because he tried to speak himself and just ended up saying so sorry because he couldn't figure out what he was meant to be saying, and yeah, pretty much bodged his
Good for him.
presentation. But at least he had a go. I've got to give him credit there.
At least he had a go. Just
You've all done very well.
Just pat him on
Well
the head.
done.
I mean-
oh, bless.
I wouldn't want to do it to a Japanese audience if I didn't know any Japanese. So
Yeah, but
pretty daunting.
yeah, but to be fair, if that was a situation where if I got invited to go to a conference in Japan, I'd just take a translator with me.
This is where we'd stand up on stage, take the piss, and hope we could get out of the country alive.
Yeah. This was coming to us in North Korea.
See?
Would be celebrities. They'd
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
it.
so
We haven't been nuked yet.
What if we could take over North Korea?
That would actually be kind of funny, to be
Yeah.
fair. What is
I love how
what is
we've-
North Korea now known for? The Rando
I love how we've
podcast.
turned
A
this.
console in every home.
We've made this tyrannical dictator into our sort of comic relief here.
Yeah. I think he should become our mascot.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Sponsorship.
People, make it happen.
Sponsorship. Round Nerds. Sponsored by Kim Jong-un.
This would be hilarious. Okay, we're gonna get into a lot of trouble. This is gonna be
Oh
great.
dear.
What, we're from North Korea?
Yeah, they'll be sitting there shaking their fists, and I'll be laughing.
Or would they approve? Would that be worse? You know, I'm not sure.
Kim Jong-un might like the podcast. We don't know.
We'll have to ask. Email in.
If you are, email in, dear leader.
America is gonna be pissed. Awesome.
Two birds with one stone. Piss off America and North Korea.
Podcast 50, the one where we all invest in shovels to dig our own graves.
Only podcast 50. Will we need a JCB by that
Will
point?
we make it that way? Make it that far?
If we
God.
survive up to episode 100, we are definitely going to North Korea. We've just said it. It's gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
That's
though.
right. It's about 8 years away yet, so we're
Yeah,
alright.
the rate we're going.
We could die before then, so it's all good.
We probably
All
will.
mysterious circumstances.
Be awesome.
Perfect.
Right.
Flashback.
What's next? Oh, right, flashback.
Tits.
Thunder Tits.
Yay.
We are going to have to rename Flashback Thunder Tits, I think.
It's gonna happen. And then people will be like, what the fuck is Thunder Tits about? Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, don't worry,
Seriously.
trust me. Yeah.
It's the Thunder Tits section. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. It's a slightly small flashback, and again, I've only got
A
something in it.
flashback of one. I can't even remember what happened in the last podcast. I just remember lots of drink.
Well, I tried to do some flashback research. Like, I tried to find out the first free-to-play game with microtransactions. I couldn't find. No one seemed to know the answer. The
Oh, yeah,
earliest,
I remember this.
It's
yeah.
not real.
the earliest one I can remember with microtransaction is Battlefield Heroes. That's as I can remember microtransactions. But
That
there
was
must be
pretty late on.
there must be some before that. But I can't remember any before that had microtransactions in them.
They were probably all crap. That doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's the only one I can remember. So I'm going to say Battlefield Heroes is the first one with microtransactions.
So I'm waiting. Seriously, we're waiting to get emails. We might get literally one email.
You're going to get an email from somebody. It's going to say,
It's going to be from Kim
I
Jong.
think you'll find that there was
You're
a
fucking wrong.
Yeah, I think you'll find there's a Japanese game in 1982 that sold 6 copies that had microtransactions
Is
in
that
it.
how he sounds? God.
He just sounds like you in your puppet form.
So go on then. What's in flashback?
Flashback. FIFA 4 finished it.
You poor bastard.
Seriously, can we just change this to the Deus Ex and Thief podcast? Because that's seriously. At first it was Say You're Being Hunted, then it turned to Thief and Deus Ex. Like, fuck it, that's all we've got.
I raise you Hyperdimensional Petunia, and I raise you Mirror Master.
Did we actually explain that on the podcast? The Mirror
Yeah,
Master
we did,
thing?
yeah.
That's
That was a
amusing.
sober podcast.
Yeah, it was. So, FIFA 4 finished.
Is it really that bad?
Oh yeah.
It got better, but not by much.
Okay.
Um,
that answers my next question.
It's like
I was
reaching the
asking
sweet
about-
corn in the shit sandwich.
Yeah, it was. I was talking about it was very chapters are quite linear. Chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Well, literally straight lines.
No, they actually get a lot better. Actually, chapter 5, I have to say,
I had to turn left, then right.
yeah. But no, actually, chapter 5, I have to say, was actually really good. That was actually quite suspenseful. It's obviously inspired by The Cradle when you played it. So, but I tell you what, actually, it was very well done. I was quite impressed. And I thought to myself, well, it proves that someone there knows how to design a level. That was really good. Yeah,
one guy laying there drunk, hiding under the
Snuck in
table.
and
So-
designed a level.
It's still pretty. I still wouldn't recommend it. I want to play it again, but I just wanted to finish it. I'm not sure what it says about that game when the fact actually this shows you how much faith they have in modern gamers. I finished it and I got obviously your usual back to achievements pop up. Oh, you've completed the game, well done. And one of them I saw that.
Bless.
Oh bless. One of them I saw that, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but I looked at it and it's an achievement you get for taking more than 15 hours to finish the game.
You know that there's someone just sat there with the game running.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. If you just got to the stage, guys, when you're having to give achievements to make people play the game longer than you intended, that's not a good sign.
Come on, guys, pan it out. Run around in circles for 5 hours.
I want to know if there's a secret achievement for like taking 1,000 hours to complete the game, and I'll literally.
I'm sure there have been games with achievements like that.
I mean, what?
There's some weird ones in Stanley Parable like that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Strange achievements.
Like, don't play the game for 5
Yeah.
years or something
Yeah,
like that.
wouldn't you want to find a friend who's trying to get that achievement? Then, like 2 days before that achievement's due, launch game.
Oh, fuck. It's like, hey, look. 3, 2, beep. Fuck you.
Yeah. Or just imagine accidentally double clicking that when you're trying. Well, it does happen. You occasionally double click the wrong game on Steam.
Or just imagine, like, they're a couple of days in, they've just had a kid, the kid spams something, and bam, fail. That kid would die so fast.
Yeah.
If there were an achievement, that kid
The
would
only
go.
good thing about Thief, it did give me an excuse to put a picture of a sheep up on the website. That's marvellous.
Yes, I did notice the review. Congratulations. Nice one, slipping that in.
That was marvellous. That's the
See,
best thing.
that was an extra thing I put in there. See, that's good.
Yeah, that's the best thing I could do. That's the best thing about the whole game.
A sheep.
A sheep.
Awesome.
That isn't even in the game.
No, it's not,
I was tempted to play through the game to kind of see what it's like from a
a non-Thief player.
yeah.
It'd be worth doing. I'd be interested to see what someone who hasn't played Thief, their take on it, because obviously a lot of my hatred was based on the previous Thief games. It'd be interesting to see someone who's not played it.
Well, the thing is, like, I've played Thief, but I don't think I've ever finished them. If I have, then it wasn't good enough for me to remember it.
I'd froth at the mouth too much if I was playing that game, so I won't play Thief 4.
So
I shall avoid it.
Start rolling around on the floor.
I will, yeah. I'll go into some sort of remission.
Excellent. Well then, you know what time is now.
It's what everybody logs into here.
Yep. This is why we don't put any chapter markers in our podcast.
Screw you guys.
Weird news.
One day I'm going to add a chapter marker in just so people can click it.
Set it like 2 minutes just after it finishes.
Set it to the weirdest part of the podcast.
Which would normally
that's whenever
be...
you speaking.
That's good.
It's normally whenever I'm sat
I'm
talking
proud of
crap.
this. Achievement unlocked.
I'm weird. Achievement unlocked.
Bing.
We're still waiting for the Friend by North Korea achievement, which we're really working on this episode.
In fairness, I thought we'd have been threatened by North Korea a long time ago.
Oh,
I'm sure
see,
we've
well-
made jokes.
Well, I'm trying to get North Korea into every episode to eventually we get a response from them. I wonder if we
it's
do
not
it.
gonna happen. Do you reckon we'll ever get a response from the Queen or the British government?
But we don't really talk about the Korean or British government.
Yeah, I know. I'm just curious
And
if
to
they're
be
ever going
honest-
to
Maybe that's
blacklist
why
us.
they're annoyed that we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
They want us to discuss
Queen,
them more.
okay. Elizabeth or Liz or Liz.
All right,
Hello,
Lizzie.
Hello, Lizzie. Just so you know, I'm a Republican, and I believe the monarchies are draining our resources, and I believe that you're sponging money off the state for no real work. So please just shut the whole family down and leave. Thanks.
Duke of Edinburgh does make me laugh, though. He provides comedy value at least. He's like Boris Johnson. I hate the Tories, but at least Boris gives me comedy value.
The average British if you think that the average British family that you see in newspapers are basically a bunch of scoundrels who live off the state, don't do anything for their money, then actually the royal family is very realistic.
Rad.
Actually represents the British family quite well there.
Off with his head.
No, I don't know if you can still. No, now then they've got rid of the death penalty for treason.
You're lucky because we were talking about treason earlier and how people get hung, drawn, and quartered for it. So
it's all gone now.
That's all gone.
Death penalty's been removed. I'm safe.
For now.
I'm just getting cast in Tower of London for the next 20 years.
In fairness, they'll probably bring it back just for you. As North Korea somehow decides to pay us a visit.
If we do it, make sure you film it for the website.
We'll do, mate. We'll do. You have my word.
Yeah.
We'll get Kim Jong to help bust your
I could have a
That would be awesome.
We could form a crime fighting duo.
Oh dear.
This is extreme.
This week,
no, you're just giving me thoughts of him in a Green Hornet outfit now, and I'm like,
this episode on Kim and Nick, they take down evil people.
This is getting really, really
surreal.
bad. Like seriously, people are like, wait, so is this the weird news, or like Nick is gonna start a crime fighting team?
Kim done him.
Oh my
God! He does all the karate moves, and I do all the technical stuff. I don't know if they do karate in North Korea. Whatever their equivalent of is, that's what will happen. It'll be great.
We are so fucked. And just think, the worst thing we could think of being tied to up until recently was Ayn Rand. Yeah. Now we're being tied to fucking North Korea. Treason. Oh my God.
I'd take them over Ayn Rand any day. God.
To be fair, yeah, they're less controversial.
We are so fucked.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
This better stay in. You can't take this out.
Oh no, this is all staying there. I ain't touching a thing. This is going to be great.
Weird news.
Actually, can I just throw in that if I leave all of this in, I'm not allowed to swear in the next podcast. If that happens, we're going to get nuked. Or we will actually go to North Korea for the episode 100 podcast.
So if you leave this in, you won't swear next podcast.
Yeah, and if I don't swear next podcast at all, that means we are definitely going to North Korea for episode 100.
Do you know what I'm going to do then? I've got at home, I will actually do this. I've got at home the QI game. It's got the little buzzer that makes the noise in QI. I'm going to have that sat next to me, and if you swear, I'm just going to hit it.
Damn it, we'll have to mic it up and bring it into the soundboard.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'm not sure we'll break any copyright rules having that on there.
No, it's all good. Well, we're worried about copyright, but we're not worried about North Korea.
Yeah. Or anyone else that we've managed to bring into the fold here.
In fairness, majority of the world to this point, we did spend several weeks insulting Norfolk, then Essex, then we decided, we're sick and tired of insulting people in our own country, let's go further afield.
We did America, I think, from episode 1.
America was before episode 1.
We've done China. We've done China as well. We've befriended them.
We've done Russia. We've done Canada.
Have we done Canada?
If we haven't, no, because they were tying them bloody rats and they fucked it up.
Oh yeah, we did insult Canada, didn't we?
Rats.
We've done Canada. We've done Russia. We've done China. We've done several other smaller countries.
We've done England. We've done Burma yet.
Not Burma yet. We can add to the list to be done next month. Belgium. We've had Belgium, I think.
Yeah.
We're glad you work it. We are really the diplomats of the future.
Have we done South Africa and Zimbabwe? And
no, not Zimbabwe. We forgot about Mugabe in our list of dictators we could invite. We need to invite him as well.
There you go. Take off the list.
So Mugabe, Putin, and Kim. Yeah.
Right, seriously, but just write us a list.
We should start. We can start a boy band.
Oh crap! Seriously.
The dictators, that's a good,
Just start listing off every single place in the world, and we will eventually tick it all off. Probably before episode 100.
I think we'll do this. We can have. I'm going to put up on the website. I'm going to have a page, a little tracker, that of every country in the world, and I'll have dates for podcast numbers when we insult them, and we'll actually work our way
Is this
through
So
the
they
list.
can, is that so
from
they can
this
look it up?
episode?
No, I'll go back to all the way episode 1. I'll just make a list.
God.
And we'll start every
crap.
country in the world, and we can actually knock them off list by one at a time.
What we also have to do is come up with some kind of tick box system so that if people listen, which they don't, I know, and now someone's offended, so they're going
That's
to tick
how
the
we
box.
get away with all this stuff.
They can come in, and if they're from that country, just tick the box, and we'll know.
Yeah.
And then I will laugh
We
at you
can
the
put
next
down when we
episode.
think we've insulted them, and they can confirm it.
Yeah, have we insulted you? If yes, tick the box. If not, then just tick the box anyway.
Have you heard your country mentioned? Then insert it. Undoubtedly, we have insulted you.
Marvellous.
Anyway,
Were you offended? Did you laugh? Was it negated by insulting a country you don't like?
which country would like us to insult
Well,
instead?
that'd
to stop you
basically be
hating us?
like if we kind of made a joke about Finland and then Sweden. They'd be
Yeah.
okay because we insulted the
Yeah.
opposite country.
We could do something about North. Well, shall we start insulting? Well, no, we're quite pro North Korea, I think, at the moment.
It's worrying, that isn't it?
It is. We can put that. That's going to be the podcast.
Well, let's put it this way: if we ever have to go to America, we are now officially on a blacklist.
That's going to be the podcast description. The pro North Korea podcast.
Oh crap!
I can't wait to write this. Month's
We're
show notes.
screwed.
We'll probably get more listeners.
Yeah, all one. Kim.
No, he'll probably. Well, hopefully, he doesn't speak that English that well. Although he did go to school in England, so it might not
Look,
work.
in fairness, what's he going to do? Like, just broadcast it all over North Korea
exactly.
on a
That's what I'm
loudspeaker?
thinking.
But that
Can you
still only
imagine-
counts as one listener.
No, because if he can make like Kim. If you're listening, what you need to do is you need to make it policy that everybody in North Korea has to listen to us. Think of the feed rating that'll be. There's how many millions of people in North Korea?
Yeah, but it still only counts as one thing if it's blasted
No,
over a
no.
loudspeaker.
They have to subscribe.
What's he going to do? Proxy it over a ZX Spectrum?
Yes. Don't insult our friend Kim. Be nice.
Their most elite PC. They're mad hackers on their Spectrums.
Oh god! Well, in the safe, they're just playing it up on StarCraft, aren't they? There you go. There's your free-to-play documentary. All you got to do is jump over to there and
Korea's
Zogrush.
great. Korea's great for mad gamers. Anyway, shall we go on to weird news?
Let's do weird news.
We seem to be having the how long does it take to get into a section podcast today. Right. Luke, you've got cats.
Shamefully, yes.
Have you ever felt threatened by them?
No, but I have threatened them.
Right, well, you need to be careful.
I was going to say, should I have said that out loud or have I insulted another group of people?
People like cats, yes.
Bollocks to
That's a
them.
lot of people.
Yeah, that is. The internet is. You've insulted the
internet
internet.
is
You've
obsessed.
insulted the internet.
Yes.
We all know the internet loves cats, and you've
And-
just
and-
insulted them.
Today is Cat Day, so
Yeah.
It's also
wait.
Ninja Month.
Well, after this podcast release, we'll go on ihashcheeseburger.com and there'll be 100 pictures of cats saying, I hate scaz.
Winning. I'm cool with that.
A rampaging cat which attacked its owner's baby and charged at them, forcing them to barricade themselves in a bedroom, is to be given therapy. You get one guess which country this is from.
I'm not going to guess America or North
Boom,
Korea.
yeah. When we North Korea doesn't have cats. The couple had to call the police after the Himalayan feline called Lux, which is actually it's also a measurement of light. It's actually, do you know what Lux is in the scientific terms? It's how many lumens of light hit a 1 square meter area.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
we are educational too. You see,
Yeah. A cat called Lux trapped them in a room in Portland, Oregon. The black and white Moddy scratched his 7-month-old child on the forehead after the baby pulled its tail. So the baby started it.
So basically, the
Baby
baby was being a
instigated
bit
it.
of a dick.
The baby's being a dick. The cat was defending itselp by scratching on its head. Right?
Now we've insulted babies
the
and
cat.
cats.
The cat. No, I'm on the side of the cat in this situation so far. The cat scratched the baby on the head. The owner then kicked
Fucking
the animal
toe
in.
punted the cat.
The owner then kicked the animal in the rear to protect the infant, but it apparently just went over the edge.
Off the balcony.
No, the cat just went over the edge. I think it went postal.
Awesome.
A 999 call has been released in which the 4-year-old cat could be heard screeching in the background as the owner tells the operator, he's charging us, he's at our bedroom door.
He's charging us like a fucking. Oh my god.
He's very, very, very hostile, apparently. They was trapped and only felt safe when the cat was eventually captured by police using a dog snare. They see police, if you'd use a cat snare, you'd have better luck initially.
Just something a Rottweiler.
Then They're not going to give up on Locks. He's now been taken to a vet where a pet psychologist is due to see the animal. Now, I wonder, is a pet psychologist a human who knows about psychology, or is it another cat?
If it was another cat, that family's screwed, man. They're evil.
They're not going to get rid of him now. He's been part of the family for a long time, apparently.
4 years.
But he has got a history of violence.
History of violence.
He's got an Asbo and everything else.
Probably. No, it's America. They don't have Asbos.
America.
Have you onto our dumb criminal section, as we have in every.
That sounds
weirdness.
like that was the dumb criminal section.
Cat can't be a criminal.
America's criminal. That child's a savage.
The child attacks cats. It's not on. Have you ever Googled yourself?
No.
Have you?
Shamefully, yes.
I have as well. What are you?
Well,
What?
what am I?
What do you do?
I just found very little results. I find lots of other people that share my name.
Well, last time I checked, I was the CEO of an air conditioning company.
I can't remember what my. No, I just find lots of randoms on Facebook that weren't even that important. So.
You have Googled yourself, because when we did the college course, the degree course, we had
I
to
know you
write.
had to.
Yeah. Can you not remember who you were?
I was a cyclist, I think.
Cyclist.
Fucking stupid sports fucking prick guy.
When my dad Googled himself, he found about 8 jazz musicians named after him.
Named after him.
Was they younger than him? They must
Have
be.
you ever sort of Googled your own name and come across one of your own pages, though?
No. We ain't got that much penetration of the internet.
Not yet. Not yet.
I think if you type in North Korea,
It's all counting on you, Jim. It's all counting on you.
Yeah. Come on, Jim, raise our fee rating. You can do it. You and North Korea can do it.
This is going to be so bad.
When one man decided to Google himself out of curiosity, he found his faith on Northern California's most wanted website and decided to turn himself in.
What?
Yeah, suddenly he found himself on the website, he decided to turn himself in. It's quite good.
Interesting.
What was that for? Late DVDs?
He was had himself in after he was wanted for allegedly firing a handgun at a building on East 14th Street on August the 8th.
Is there anything of significance there? There probably is. I have no idea.
I don't know. It just said it in the thing I copied and pasted.
Okay.
According to the police, he got into an argument, pulled out the gun and fired a few shots at the ground. Although no one was harmed, police wanted him on suspicion that he shot a firearm towards an inhabited building.
Wait. Suspicion of?
Yeah.
He's just argued with, but... Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. Now, Luke, you run a business.
Shamefully.
Presumably you've had to comply with several health and safety rules.
Shamefully.
And all sorts of any fire safety rules?
I don't bloody know. Just don't trip over a tripod like a plank.
I mean, we have to, obviously, at work, we have to comply with many fire safety rules. And I'm guessing you have to, especially in your situation, you probably got a lot more care.
You've got tons,
I just have to make sure I've got insurance so that if anyone breaks their arms and legs over equipment that I've quite clearly put somewhere.
Well,
I mean, we have a system where, obviously, because of people's different situations and their attitudes to things, we have systems that run based on their particular character quirks. For example, we have a person that won't leave a room until everybody else has left, so we have to ensure that they're at the back of the line. It's quite complex.
I'm sure it is. Well, someone else has fallen foul recently. A dominatrix, best way I can really pronounce it, who gags, chains and whips men in her sex dungeon, has been handed an £8,000 fine for breaching fire safety rules.
Oh my god.
Lorraine Wright was prosecuted by the fire sales after they called out to a blaze in Stockport but could not gain access to her underground chamber. When they they caught its address in Vauxhall Industrial Estate, Greg Street, on 30th October 2012. When they finally gained access, they discovered a grisly grotto full of handcraft chains and several canisters of nitrous oxide. Now, I'm a bit pissed off at the grisly grotto because I'm seeing people go there voluntarily and pay their money to go there. So obviously it's not that grisly. It just sounds like someone sort of trying to bad mouth her. I think it's a bit of a political in there.
In fairness, it's not their thing, so...
Well, nitrous oxide is used by their dominatrices to give their clients a momentary high, but claimed it could be dangerous. Prosecutors claimed that this could be dangerous if fire broke out and those under the influence were unable to react, which is a fair comment. She admitted to full breach of health and safety rules at Stockport and admitted that she had not considered safety regulations. She's a former beautician. Pleaded guilty for failure. She pleaded
Holy
guilty.
crap, what a career
Sorry,
change.
just the minute I heard safety regulations, I thought she's just not using safe words properly.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
She's a former beautician. She pleaded guilty to the following: failure to carry out a risk assessment, installing suitable fire alarms, maintaining emergency exits, or installing emergency lighting. Prosecutor explained that when White was asked to explain activities in dungeon, she said, "Nothing too severe, slight bondage, possibly a mask gag, involves a lot of humiliation, doing domestic work, and dressing up in women's clothes." I don't know if that's the man or the dominatrix in that situation, doing the domestic work, dressing up in women's clothes. Peter Grogan, which I'm sure is a monster from D&D, defense law, described his client as a businesswoman of good character who whips people.
Good character building.
Yeah.
What a job.
Now, Luke, this is something I know is dear to your heart, this next story. I know it's something you're really keen on, you really like to do as a photographer and do
North
stuff.
Korea.
No. Selfies.
Wow. Okay.
Now, a Time magazine has built a database of basically what they did is they took a load of cities in the world. They analysed how many selfies were taken over a week period and used that to work out the city that takes the most selfies in the world. Who do you think got to the top of the list?
North Korea.
No. Good guess, though.
Close?
No.
Top 5.
No.
Damn it.
Not on the list.
Slacking off, guys. Come on.
Any ideas? No? Come on.
I'd really rather not guess.
I'm trying to think of the vainest place in the world.
Oh, well, it's not America.
Is it in the UK?
No. It's actually in the Philippines. Makiti City and Pasang, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, has on average 258 selfie takers per 100,000 people.
Okay, so why? What is there that is of any interest to
well,
anyone?
that's the follow-up study.
Then there's follow-up study to that is, does anyone really give a shit? Then there's a study as to why do we do all of this?
It's Time Magazine. Well, Time Magazine's also got a lot of time in their hands to do this. Next to this was Manhattan, then Miami, then was...
Is Hawaii up there?
No. Then Anaheim and Santa Ana, California, Petaling Jaya, Malaysia, Tel Aviv in Israel apparently got to number 6, and the number 7, Manchester. We got in there eventually. Manchester, 114 selfie takers per 100,000 people.
North Korea nuke Manchester.
Yeah. then Milan, then Cebu City in the Philippines, and finally Georgetown at number 10. In Malaysia. So apparently Malaysia got a thing about doing selfies.
Kind of say, what a crock of turd.
Yeah, what a waste. Why bother?
Think of all them cracked lenses.
Yeah.
Seriously, if they're uploading those to the internet, I feel sorry for the internet.
Well, it is the internet. I'm sure I can handle it. We'll go sort the Amstrad CPC. I'm sure that doesn't mind.
Report to Alan Sugar.
Yeah. Do you think it's based in North Korea?
Would you think Alan Sugar's got secret dealings with him?
I reckon he has.
That's what he does with The Apprentice. Whoever wins, he sends off over there
Yeah.
to be sacrificed for something.
That could be an excellent challenge in the next task, in the next Apprentice series. Oh, that'd be coming on soon. That'd be good.
Try and sell your wares in North Korea. See how well you do.
Now, this is something that's very dear to my heart, and I have a lot of sympathy for. Ireland, the Golden Shears World Championship, and we're talking about shearing sheep. They are 1,000 sheep short. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Golden Shears 1,000 sheep short.
Yeah. Why?
Because they need to be very the sheep need. Now they claim this is for shearing. They need to be ewes, which are female sheep for those who are, under the age of 5 and don't know what a ewe is. And they need to be aged between 12 and 14 months, which in sheep terms is sort of a 22-year-old, so quite young.
Right.
To ensure that all compares are supplied a similarly shaped sheep.
Right.
Okay. Prices of such animals in Ireland are running high, and farmers are under pressure to sell them before May 22nd started the 4-day competition in Gorey, south of Dublin. They've got...
I don't know why, but every time we mention Ireland, I'm just kind of defaulting now back to Wales, as soon as we're talking about sheep.
I love sheep. Any excuse to get them onto the podcast, onto the website, I would take it.
Righto. North Korea.
I don't want North Korea's got sheep in it. If they haven't got sheep, then that's
They've
not
got that
good.
really cool zoo.
They've got Yorkshire Terriers in the zoo, we know that, but have they got sheep?
Attack sheep.
I have.
If played Worms
Kim-
with the exploding
Kim,
sheep, he'd love that.
If you're listening, I can supply sheep. They're
If you're
fantastic.
listening, he's probably getting really pissed off if you ask him if he's listening. He's probably sat there thinking, yeah, well, of course I'm listening.
I can't wait to get the email next month. That'll be. I can just imagine that frantic text you sending me. Nick, have you seen the email? We've got an email from Kim Jong Un.
I'm going to be saying, like, how many times can I get away with saying North Korea without actually having to say North Korea in the podcast?
Was it Echelon picks us up? That American searchy database thingy.
Let's be fair, we will probably be blacklisted by morning. Credit history gone, you'll lose your jobs, my business will fold, although I don't really know how me sympathising with North Korea is going to stop a photography business.
Spying.
Oh yeah, crap,
Yeah,
they have tried to do me for spying recently.
Yeah.
Oh no, the plot thickens.
Yeah. North
Korea.
Just briefly, the event we're talking about, we're not talking about North Korea, we're talking about sheep shearing again, has composed from 38 countries. From China to Chile, including champion shearer
And
Gavin Much of Scotland. And the painting moves around the world, the contest. 37 years it's been going. But yeah,
well, there you go. Now we've got an excuse. We can get him involved in this contest.
Yeah.
Something that they can get involved with the rest
The
of
winner of the
bring
2014 Golden Shears Award is Kim Jong Un, who
world-
sheared 10,000 sheep in 20 minutes.
Bring world peace, avert World War III.
Well, sheep shearing.
If we get a sheep shearing over there, he might be like, now I see why the rest of the world is so united.
Because we have sheep
Because
shearing.
they shear sheep.
Perfect, or share sheep.
This is where we're starting to cross into really bad territory here. So, talking about all that other stuff
You
was
see,
fine.
this is what happens when you make me stay up and I start going slightly mental.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's past midnight, clearly.
Finally. Have you seen? We're back on the subject of selfies again.
Oh,
Have you seen? There's a craze apparently. This is news to me anyway. But there's a craze going at the moment of the no makeup selfies.
Oh yes,
Yep.
I did have a little bit of a contention with this, saying that it's more for vanity than for actually helping with charity at all.
I've heard.
Well, basically, people have been able to text the word with the picture selfie, the word "beat" to a phone number, and they donate money to cancer research.
Right.
But
Which you can do without needing to take a selfie.
Yeah,
just
true.
To add.
Unfortunately, some phones have been autocorrecting beat to bear. And so what's happening instead is they've been texting money to the World Wildlife Fund, who are basically arranging to adopt a polar bear. So these people keep getting phone calls saying you weren't ready to say your adoption for a polar bear. The reply they get is, thank you for choosing an adorable polar bear. We will call you today to set up your adoption.
I like that. That's a worthy cause.
Autocorrect blunder surprised many who took the treat to joke about the adoption news, as people always do. But when we read the tweets, because they're all boring, because tweets always are. I know we've got a Twitter account, so
we're pissed off Twitter. We're pissed off B-ball.
Really, we should start treating our Twitter account. It's all set to do it automatically, but I think we need to start treating more from the Twitter account. Adam, you're in charge of that now.
Well,
GG.
kiss that goodbye, because there's not going to be much content.
North Korea.
Yeah.
North Korea.
Maybe they've got their own Twitter. We could be in contact with him. Look.
Yeah, we'll follow him.
We'll be tweeting
I
to
reckon
Kim.
the second, if he has got an account, the second anyone follows him, instantly they're blacklisted.
We already are.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to do the fear. Anyone who did text bear by accident don't actually get to Dr. Bear straight away. They have to have confirmation anyway, so the money can be redirected towards Cancer Research UK. But yeah, all I want to know, the word beat is a real word, so why would autocorrect change it to bear?
It's got a sense of humour.
Yeah, it's just trolling people.
So,
dude.
yeah, we're going to make you all adopt polar bears
I
instead.
blame Siri.
Yeah, that thing is pretty dumb.
I could ask Siri.
So yeah, go on then. I know you can't because you're not allowed to have your phone on. Yeah, fucked you up there, didn't it?
Will she give me permission to put airplane mode off just so I can ask Siri?
This is awesome. I have that. I have that as my for my blackmail folder. Yes, you can, Nick.
Well, we're going to ask her again. I've forgotten.
Dude, you've just displayed the world's shittest superpower. The ability to stop Nick putting his phone on, if you wish.
Right.
Although it might come in really handy one day, you never know. If Nick becomes a supervillain alongside old Kim, you just go, Nick, no phone. Damn! Foiled!
Here we go. Siri, are you trolling people?
There you go.
I think that's highly appropriate. I don't know why.
It is, yes.
That went very well.
That was highly appropriate. I'll put airplane mode back on now.
I was going to say, just ask it one more question. This isn't really a question.
He's gone all Columbo on us.
Just one more thing.
Yeah, it's not a question, though,
Okay.
really.
What question do you want to ask it?
North Korea.
Just a statement.
Do you like North Korea?
I was thinking.
It really is thinking.
Apple servers are melting.
Nicholas, you're now about to be shot by the Americans.
Yeah, that's why it's delayed so much. Silly
gosh.
Siri.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
that's so. What we talking in this podcast? North Korean podcast.
Yeah. No, we don't have podcast titles. That's just so blasé.
Oh, dear.
Good old Siri.
Holy crap! We are now. Look, seriously. Type in North Korea. Our podcast comes up. None of that other crap. Just. Oh my god. Oh well, I've got no problem with that.
Oh,
Apparently, they have a pretty cool roller coaster, which we spoke about once upon a time. I think.
they have a golf course that's closed down.
I'm sure they had a theme park at one point.
They have got a theme park. They had a golf course that was
Next to the theme park.
a golf course, and Kim Jong. I've lost track of what the Kim Jong Un is the newest one, isn't he?
Il was
It's
his
the
father.
newest one.
Kim Jong Il was the previous one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, Kim
He was
Jong.
the last one to come off the production line.
Yeah,
He-
Kim Jong. Well, he did look a bit like sort of ventriloquist dummy, to be fair.
Only in
it's-
Team America.
No, in real life as well.
That's fact, man.
Kim Jong Il went to they opened up North Korea's first golfing place. He went to it, supposedly scored 9 hole-in-ones,
As you do.
as you do, declared the game too easy and closed it down on its first day.
That's brilliant.
I'd love to live in a country where I'd have that sort of power. I think secretly, deep down, everybody would like to be a dictator.
Oh, yeah.
Deep down, we all would.
It's all good fun.
It's all
I
good
already
fun.
am. What are you talking about? I'm the one in control of the board. I'm in control of the fucking edit. What are you talking about?
You
So-
can't control. Well, you can control my phone.
So he
but-
thinks, listeners. So he thinks.
Yeah.
Right, turns out it's actually you guys in North Korea.
Yes.
Nick Superhero Squad.
Kim and Nick fight crime. We're going to have a film out next year by Marvel.
Seriously, I'm waiting to get a letter through saying, right, you've been blacklisted from absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Could you please leave your home?
Yeah.
We will be shipping you off to North Korea in, 90 episodes.
Fair enough. I can live with that.
The British government will probably actually pay for our trip over
All we
there.
do, no, all we do is if it's 90 episodes, simply we get to episode 99 and we stop.
Yeah, and then we'll end up probably getting jumped,
Probably.
bundled into the back of a van and shipped off anyway.
We want that might happen anyway. I mean, who knows how many agents North Korea have in this country? Probably.
Probably at
Mate.
least 3 sat at this table, apparently.
According to the Americans, there will be. We will get deported to America next.
Oh, crap.
Right then, time to wrap up.
Well, I hear that Guantanamo Bay has an excellent water slide.
How many attempts is the outro going to take this month?
It took only one last month, just through, but well,
Through the power of editing. I don't know how I'm going to... Seriously, folks, I don't know how I'm going to edit this one at all. Not that anyone's listening to this, so I don't know who I'm talking to. But
someone
yeah.
might eventually.
I might actually just leave one episode and then someone will say, wow, that was edited really well. It sounds so natural.
We should skip an episode just see if anyone notices.
But then would that mean we've technically pod faded?
Not necessarily, because the episode may still exist. It's just
We
not
just
been
never
uploaded.
released it.
Yeah, the forgotten episode.
Too hot for the internet.
Yeah.
I thought that
And
was
then
this one.
we could re-release it like the old Jerry Springers that This is the Too Hot for the Internet edition. You can only
What-
get it if you order
we
it
could
on
then-
DVD from us.
What we could do is put it on like just sort of like slip it into like sort of like the Pirate Bay and sort of like this is the episode you didn't want you to hear, and that approach is the most mundane episode possible.
That's why.
It'd be basically how it would work is so games we've been playing, nothing. Yeah. Watch anything? No, not really.
Well, no, we'd be talking about
Any
games that we
tabletop
like.
games? No. Any
Humanitarians
no,
that
not
we
really.
enjoy.
Any news? Not really. Flashback? No. Weird news? Couldn't be bothered. That's basically what it would be.
That's the best. Why can't all podcasts be like that? I'll be finished in like 20 minutes.
We could do an episode every day if we did it like that.
Holy hell, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Anyway, you can email us at randnerd@gmail.com. Please, somebody email us. Find us online at randnerds.com. You can follow us on Twitter, randnerds. You can find us on YouTube, randnerd. You can find us on Facebook, randnerds. WordPress.com. No, sorry.
You won't believe how much I've been fighting saying North Korea every time you can say you can find us at.
North Korean embassy.
You can find us on Twitter at North Korea.
Right, we eventually might have a Twitch TV channel, but not at the moment. But if we
have
do,
got one.
we have
but
got
no
one. We're just not
streams on it.
using it. No, but eventually we might do. So buy something all me us, and hello Kim. We look forward to seeing you in a few episodes' time. So that's if we're assuming we're not banned for the next episode. We'll see you next time. It's goodbye from me, Nicholas Jackson,
And me, Luke Roberts.
And me, Adam Thorne.
See you next time, guys.
Adios.